The prophet of thought. Open your mind, 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 open your mind. Open your mind, open your mind, open your mind, open your mind, open your mind. Only from the Prophet of Thought series movie. Open your mind, open your mind, open your mind.
Apples of power. Apples of power.
Debates. Open your mind, your mind, your mind, your mind.
Apples of power. Apples of power.
So, a community is where you control your voting, you control your commerce, you control your education, you control your house. We don't control none of that. We live in a hood. Well, what about the Negroes that get out? Oh, well, my cousin, he's a multi-millionaire, almost got $1 billion. Three PhDs, working on 2 more. Driving down the street in Chicago, in his Rolls Royce, enjoying himself, and he hit his sorry and looked to the mirror and hit his top car, flashing lights. He squeezed the steering wheel, man. Heart beats fast. Because he knew the price of a Negro, what it could be. And then when that cop car passed him by, he said, thank God he wasn't after you in the first place. That Negro that you can get away from. It's universal. They wasn't coming after you. But all your billions and your Rolls Royce and your PhD didn't help. That's the hood. Why do you think you never pick up the paper and read over and over? See white families, why you take the thousands of black cops in America? Why don't you see white families crying? That's black cops got popped out one point. I put the back of the head. Why do you think black cops are going to make you more spiritual? Think you're going to get no. they got enough sense to know that white folks ain't gonna tolerate it. And I will stop in our neighborhood when we decide we will not tolerate. Now, if we were organized, which is hard to organize people who are systemically crazy, you don't let them crazy. But if we were, with the money we have, and the many people who would come to our aid that don't know what it's like to be a Negro, and we said, look, we said, if we don't get a federal law to deal with police brutality, that any time a cop or anybody carry a gun have to have a license to actually drive a car. And if you use it wrong, then you'll lose your license. And if a jail, you can never work again as a cop or a store boy or a private detective. Now, how do you get Congress to protect you? Well, you take your economic power and you call on your friends, black, white, young, and old, and say, this coming Christmas, if we don't have a federal law to outlaw police brutality by law, we call them to a nationwide for a top of Christmas and restore those things. Here's what I'm telling you. 79% of all retail in America happens between Thanksgiving and Christmas. People stay in business all year, lose money just for Christmas. Well, what happens now? Mexico, Georgia, Seattle, Western, they will get the bill, and all they got to do is make one phone call and say, Harry, Senator, I want that bill pushed through in 3 days. Okay, it's economic. It's that simple. But we have the power with the system that wipes us out so bad.
Open your minds.
And peace. Folks, welcome back to another edition of the Proper Thought series right here on the old T.P.O.T. YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why your black asses are here. Tonight, we will be throwing down my man, LilBigNate, versus the... Hold on a second. Hold on a goddamn second. Hold the fuck up. Now, I'm looking in my goddamn email because I was getting ready to hit the general up. And I got an email in here. It says, I really hate to do this, but I want... Oh, come on! All right, y'all. The goddamn general is not coming. The general is not coming. He got caught up at work. Y'all know the general's a military man, and something's going on at the base, I guess. Okay, fuck it. We're gonna go ahead and keep going. First, before I start the show, y'all know I always like to start the show off with thanking all of you good folks. What's good, brother Art? I see you up there, brother. Brother Stoic, you ain't shit, man. He said LilBigNate wins by default. I'm always gonna thank y'all, man. Start the show off with thanking you good folks, man, for your support, your views, your shares, your likes, all of that, and definitely your hard-earned pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and 50-cent pieces, man. Y'all support this channel so much, man. I mean, I got 2 cash apps at like 8:30, like a whole hour before the damn show even started, man. I mean, these are the kind of people that listen to T.P.O.T. They cash app you before the show even goddamn starts. These are the people that listen to T.P.O.T, man. And I want y'all to know, man, that I appreciate all you good people here and all you good people out there, man, because y'all make T.P.O.T what it is. And I can't say this enough, man. I mean, there's nowhere I can go and people don't know who I am. And I know it's not just because of my black ass. I know it's because of you good folks, man. You know, and I want y'all to know, man, that I'm humbled. I'm honored, man. And it perplexes me, man. Sometimes I sit and I think, I'm like, what do they see in this shit? But y'all see something because you keep coming back, man. And you don't have to do any of it, man. You don't have to watch these damn debates, man. You don't have to come here every goddamn week. You don't have to share these videos and like them and all that kind of bullshit. But you choose to do so, man. You choose to do it. You choose to support this channel the way you do, man. And I want y'all to know, man. I want y'all to know that I appreciate all of y'all, man. I do. I appreciate every single one of you out there, man. All of y'all out there and all of y'all up in here as well. All right, man. I'm humbled. I'm honored, man. And I'm appreciative of all of you good folks out there. All right. Before we get started, the damn general just sent me, I think he sent that email like an hour and some change ago, but I'm just now checking it because I was gonna send him the link, but he said he's not going to make it. So that kind of sucks. But a few programming notes. Y'all know I'm trying to get the big debate going on Saturday with Brother Obsidian, and Brother Obsidian wants to take on like 3-4 folks. Now I've only had one confirmation for an opponent. That's my man Xanatos Clutch. He's ready to throw down with Brother Obsidian. I haven't heard anything from anybody else except Brother Solo TV. The other brothers, I haven't heard anything from them, so I don't know. I'm going to try to get it all hammered out by the end of business tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to try to hammer it out. All right. I'm going to try to do it. Also, speaking of how you good folks have made it so that I'm known everywhere, let me share a little bit of something with y'all. I have been invited by brother Big Duke, Tony Big Duke. He invited me to come to his channel, Fourth Quarter Talk. I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna shoot the shit. You know, your boy X then fucked around and got invited to somewhere. And of course, I'm going to go because I always go to places where I'm invited. So good on down there, man. Check me out. Check me out on Fourth Quarter Talk. All right. Check me out down there. You know, the brother does good stuff, man. I was watching some of his stuff today after he invited me. So I'm coming down there, man. Saturday. I'll be down there like 3:30. So get on down there, man. Check out Fourth Quarter Talk, man. They got some good shit going on down there. And yeah, Brother X will be there Saturday, 3:00. So I got to hurry up and bring my ass home because I'm probably going to work a half a day on Saturday. So I'm going to hurry up, bring my ass home so I can get cleaned up and get ready and come on down there, you know, with the brothers and chop it up a little bit. So check me out down there. All right, y'all. All right. So let's get at it. The general's not here. So let me go ahead and bring in my man. What's good, Nate?
What's good, bro? How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I just looked at my damn emails and the general writes me an hour ago telling me he's not coming.
It's no problem, man. Let's not disrespect the general, please. I've tried.
I like the general.
No, absolutely. And I don't want the brother to be disrespected or anything. I'm sure there's a legitimate reason. I could, if you'd like, Xavier, I could just speak. I've done it before. If you just give me the platform, I'll just give out my presentation, my information, and anybody who disagrees can come up, you know, once I'm done and say what they got to say.
You know what? That sounds damn good to me, brother Nate. Just let me shout out these 2 super chats.
Do whatever you got to do, bro.
Cash apps. My man Sire Tice, good look on that cash app, my brother, and also Brother William, appreciate that, man. Brother Sire Tyson, Brother William on the Cash Apps. I appreciate it, my brothers. Good look, man. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and I'll just let my man, LilBigNate, throw down. And anybody who want to come up here and debate his talking points, the door shall be open. My man Nate, you got the floor, brother.
All right.
It's all yours.
First and foremost, let me give you some insight onto how I like to handle things. Number one, I have a reputation to uphold. I don't get on panels. If you've ever seen me on panels, I don't scream. I don't yell at people. I don't curse at people. I might curse during the course of my presentation, but I don't ever curse or attack individuals. I attack institutions. I attack ideologies. I do not attack individuals in this sector. I'm not looking to make enemies. I can't get into this scream fest, the nigga shit. I don't do it. I have zero interest in it. I will not participate in it. I'll walk away from the panel if somebody insists on acting like that. Brother Xavier can knock him down, or I can walk away. It's completely up to him. It's his platform. But I can't risk my reputation, especially I'm going to be starting a political channel. If they can link my name to this channel and see me acting like a mentally ill, deranged lunatic screaming at the top of my lungs and cursing at people, that's only going to damage my reputation. If you've seen me on any panel, you've never seen me act like that, because I never, ever do. Okay? And I won't tolerate it from other people either. I don't deserve to be disrespected because I never disrespect anybody. If I got up here on panels and called this dude a motherfucker and this dude an asshole, then you gentlemen would have every right to come up here and do it to me. But I purposely don't act like that, because I didn't want to add any acrimony and any discord to this sector of YouTube. None. There's enough of it already. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to talk about the things I would have talked about if the debate would have gone on. And feel free, any gentleman who can come up here and speak to me with the respect that I'm speaking to you with, I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Okay. Now, to open, I'm going to go over the policies, because everybody seems to be obsessed with policy. Policy. Let's go over the current day Democrat policies. These are out of the mouths of Democrats themselves. Okay. This is modern Democrat orthodoxy, and I want you to listen to it. Because if you plan on going on that voting booth and pulling the lever, pressing that button for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, I want you to be aware of what you're supporting. Okay. Now, you will be in support of complete and total open borders. Okay. There will be very little regulation of a southern border. All sorts of foreign nationals will be allowed and permitted to come into this country, take advantage of our school systems, certain aspects of the welfare system. During the debates, all of the Democrat nominees raised their hands when asked would they give access to Medicare for all for illegal immigrants. Every single Democrat presidential nominee raised their hands. Okay, so you're for open borders. Let me tell you a couple of things about open borders. Open borders has two very bad effects on your economy. Illegal immigrants take millions of jobs. These are usually entry-level jobs that your sons and your daughters would qualify for. You know, those entry-level positions they get late in high school or maybe early in college that can fund some of their expenses, get work experience. That's where those jobs go to. And also, number two, unregulated immigration causes a dip in the salary of individuals. A lot of Republican businessmen love open borders because they can take advantage of illegal immigrants and paying them lower than standard wages for the jobs that they do. So if we curtail illegal immigration, we will raise wages and there will be millions of job opportunities for Americans to take. Now, granted, Americans aren't going to pick oranges, probably. Americans aren't going to do some of the jobs that illegal immigrants do. but illegal immigrants often occupy large chicken and meat processing factories. These jobs could go to young American men and women that need employment. And these factories are all over the country. And they're usually staffed a lot of times by illegal immigrants. So you're in favor of open borders. Number two, things you may not be privy to if you're a leftist and a Democrat and a progressive, is the incidents where biological young men are competing on girls' sports teams. This is happening all over the USA, where mentally ill boys who believe they're girls are allowed to compete on women's track and field, in women's volleyball, even in women's wrestling. There are mentally ill boys posing as girls, competing against biological girls and winning. Things have gotten so bad in women's sports in some of these cities that many of the parents have formed class action lawsuits against the school systems because their daughters can no longer place first, second, or third in these sports. The mentally ill boys who think they're girls are taking all the top positions because just genetically, women are not going to be able to compete against biological men in just about any sport. But don't tell the Democrats that. Number three, you must be in a favor of abortion and even late-term abortion. Late-term abortion is described as abortions happening, I believe, after the fourth month. And many of the Democrat nominees have vowed to, take looks at late-term abortion. Of course, they're in favor of, abortion within the first 28 weeks. That's a no-brainer. But many of them are also in favor of late-term abortion. I remember there was an interview done with Secretary Clinton. She was the Secretary of State for Barack Obama, and she was asked by the interviewer. The interviewer said, Secretary Clinton, are you in favor of late-term abortion? Abortion up to and including, right before the child is due? And Secretary Clinton said, well, I am in favor of a woman's right to choose. He asked her again the same question. She responded, I am in favor of a woman's right to choose. Okay, well, I hope you are too, because if these two folks, Vice President Biden and Senator Harris, get into office, I hope you're definitely in favor of abortion. One of the new policies that many Democrats are calling for is the abolishment of the police, not just the defunding of the police, the abolishment of the police. Okay? You have to be very careful with your words. Words have meaning. These people want to not only defund the police, they want to abolish them. They want to abolish prisons. In Seattle, they've already defunded the police by hundreds of millions of dollars, and now they're looking at abolishing prisons. Where are the prisoners going to go? Where do the rapists, the murderers, the drug addicts, the thieves, the gangbangers, where do they go? I'll tell you where they'll go. They'll go back into your neighborhoods. They'll prey on you. This is what many Democrats are calling for. Many on the DNC, the Democrat National Convention. I don't know if you watched it. The ratings were down 46% compared to 2016's ratings. They had speakers up there talking about abolishing prisons. I'm going to get into one of those speakers in a little bit. You're also for men going into women's bathrooms. That's right. Mentally ill men going into women's bathrooms. Brother Xavier, I believe, is a resident of North Carolina. In the city of Charlotte, a few years ago, the NCAA, which is a black basketball tournament, always had their tournament in Charlotte for several years. They tried to pass an ordinance allowing mentally ill men who think they're women to go into women's bathrooms. And the people of the city of Charlotte voted against it. Well, the NCAA didn't like that. So for, I believe, 2 years, they boycotted the city of Charlotte. And, oh, okay, so, yes, Nate, I'm going to disrespect you. Okay, that's good, MOT. I'm going to address you later, okay? I'm going to address you later, sir. You and your mental illness, I'm going to address you later. And it was unfortunate. Again, the NCAA for 2 years did not come to the city in protest of people deciding that grown men should not be going into bathrooms of 4-year-old girls and people's wives and girlfriends. So, you know, it's interesting. Ultimately, the vote was reversed, the city capitulated, and then NCAA came back. Now, this is one of the more curious new positions of Democrats, okay? I want you to listen to this closely. Please listen to this closely. The Democrats are now preaching an end to private property, okay? Now, let me prove it to you. There's a writer by the name of Candace Mallet, KandistMallett. She's a writer for Teen Vogue, because you know you got to get hold of these young people's minds as soon as you can. She wrote an article speaking about the evils of private housing. I want you to think about this for a minute. All you leftists, you liberals, you progressives, just answer these questions for me. I'm asking you with all due respect. Many of the intelligentsia of your party are now making these proclamations, an end to private property. Candace Mallet, in her article in Teen Vogue, I believe it was this past month, had that private housing equals economic violence against communities. Basically, what she's saying, if you have to pay rent or a mortgage for your house, that's economic violence. I mean, these are what your Democrat intelligentsia are putting in the minds of people. You're against private property. You're against private housing, meaning your private apartment complex, your private home that you went and worked for and qualified for a mortgage for. I don't understand how you could be against private housing. Private housing equals economic violence against the community. Now, let me go ahead and introduce you to a gentleman by the name of Beto O'Rourke. Okay, Beto O'Rourke is a congressman from Texas, and he ran for president also, along with about 18 other Democrats. And Beto O'Rourke is being, you know, his presidential campaign failed, but his name has been bounced around as a potential AG, Attorney General, who would be the head law enforcement officer of this country. And let's see here. I'm going to give you Beto O'Rourke's own words in reference to you gentlemen who own semi-automatic firearms. Now, the general is a military man, from what I understand. I have no doubt he's familiar with weaponry, with ammunition. There's several men across the Black manosphere that own semi-automatic weapons. They've showed them on their videos. There's nothing wrong with that. It's pretty interesting. I'm about to purchase one myself. And, well, let's just listen to what Beto O'Rourke thinks about your semi-automatic weapons. Please listen closely.
Your hometown. Some on this stage have suggested a voluntary buyback for guns in this country. You've gone further. You said, quote, Americans who own AR-15s and AK-47s will have to sell them to the government, all of them.
Okay, did you all hear that? What the moderator said, he said to Beto O'Rourke, he prefaced the question with this. Congressman O'Rourke, you have said that Americans who own AR-15s, AK-47s will have to give up all of them. Now, I want you to listen to Beto O'Rourke's, the man who could be your attorney general. I want you to listen to his response. I hope this is loud enough for you to hear. Here we go.
You know, the critics call this confiscation. Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am, if it's a weapon that was designed to kill people on a battlefield. If the high impact, high velocity round, when it hits your body, shreds everything inside of your.
Now, you do know that this is emotionalism and stupidity, because every bullet shreds you as it hits you. Handguns, revolvers, all bullets shred you when they hit you, okay? But let's finish up with Mr. O'Rourke.
Your body, because it was designed to do that, so that you would bleed to death on a battlefield, not be able to get up and kill one of our soldiers. When we see that being used against children, and in Odessa, I met the mother of a 15-year-old girl who was shot by an AR-15, and that mother watched her bleed to death over the course of an hour because so many other people were shot by that AR-15 in Odessa and Midland. There weren't enough ambulances to get to them in time. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow.
All right, folks, did you hear that? He made a proud proclamation that he's going to take your private property, your semi-automatic weapons that you purchased for your defense, for your practice to defend your homes, your family, and your property. He proclaimed he would take them from you. How many of you are ready to have some fat, retarded bureaucrat knock on your door with a check for $300, because you will have no say in what you get paid for your involuntary give up of your weapon? So when he knocks on the door with a check for $300 and your gun was $600, what are you going to do, black man? Now, I would love to hear the answer from leftists, liberals, and progressives, because I just played the information that their candidates are giving out to the American public. Okay? Gun confiscation. Confiscation of your property you paid for, you bought to practice with and defend your family. You're going to give it up. That's what Beto O'Rourke says, the man who could possibly be your attorney general under a Biden-Harris administration. Okay. Now, I want to cover just one thing that the DNC had that was pretty humorous. The RNC has been pretty interesting. The DNC was a nightmare. And I want to give you an example of the type of people that the DNC has put up to be examples of the type of people they want leading the country and the people that they want to represent them when talking to the American people. Okay. Now, the individual I'm going to cover who spoke, I believe it was either Tuesday or Wednesday of the DNC, is a person by the name of J. Mai, Jaimai. Now, J. Mai was born a woman, but I'm not allowed to call it that because it does not want to be referred to as that. It wants to be referred to in the pronouns of they and them. This is what they demanded, not me. I didn't make this up about Jai Mai. Now, Jai Mai's biography at Wake Forest University, where she used to be a student, they used to be a student, because again, she's a biological woman. You're just not allowed to call her that. And if you do, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a transphobe. Okay. This is what their description was at the university, at Wake Forest University, in their biography. Description: Black Vietnamese, transgender, non-binary, gender transcended, mermaid, queen, king. I kid you not. This is who the DNC put up as an example of the type of individuals they want representing modern Democrat orthodoxy. Now, these are not jokes. I'm not lying. You can check the name for yourself. She was one of the speakers. You can Google her speech on YouTube and watch it for yourself. Now, in her speech, she covered abolishing the police. I'm sorry, I called her her again. I have to call her they. I apologize. Yes, mermaid. I swear to God. Let me read the description again that she had at Wake Forest University. Description: Black, Vietnamese, transgender, non-binary, gender transcended, mermaid, queen, king. This is not a joke, folks. I swear to you. I would never come up here and lie to you about anything. Okay. Now, She spoke, again, I'm sorry, I did it again. They spoke about abolishing the police, abolishing ICE, and abolishing prisons. More sentiment about ending prisons in our country, ending cash bail, which will simply allow people to be charged with a crime and then be put back on the street. Do you know how many murders have taken place with the release of prisoners from the COVID-19 epidemic? If you Google COVID-19 prison release murders, you'll see stories all over the country about people who have been robbed and murdered by prisoners released for COVID-19. What's going to happen when cities shut down the prisons completely? This is what your Democrats want. You can't run from it. You have to stand on what the people that represent your party say. I'm not going to let you run from it. I'm going to make you defend what these people believe, okay? And I'll be happy to talk about what the Republicans believe in just a minute. Let's see here. As a matter of fact, let's talk about Republicans. Okay, there's this big question of policy. First of all, let me explain something to you. You don't understand the premise of conservatism and Republican politics. The premise of your question is flawed, and let me explain why. You're operating on the idea that Republicans believe in a litany of legislation that touches your life from birth to death. That is the antithesis of what Republicans believe. When you stand there demanding policy, all I can do is tell you that most Republicans only believe in a few fundamental policies to govern the society. And let me go over them with you. These policies are low taxes, believing that Americans have the right to keep as much of their hard-earned money as they possibly can. I believe that most Americans work from January 1st through, I think, April 24th or 25th just to pay taxes. Do you enjoy getting up every day for those months, going to work just to pay taxes? Well, all those of you calling for more and more policies, more and more legislation, more and more programs, all you're doing is asking to pay more and more taxes. Now, I couldn't really argue with you if these policies were having a positive effect. But if you look at every major Democrat-run Black city, they're all in shambles. These are Democrat cities, often run by Black Democrats. They have Democrat state legislatures in the majority, many of them, and they're able to do whatever they want as far as policy is concerned. But unfortunately, a lot of these cities, almost none of us would want to live in. Now, we recently lost John Lewis, a civil rights pioneer. And I think his most famous moment was his event in Selma, Alabama. I believe he was beaten. I believe the name of the bridge was the Bettis Bridge. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Correct me in the chat if I'm incorrect. And for over 50 years, Selma, Alabama has voted Democrat. It's a Democrat stronghold. I tell you what, let's take a look at Selma, Alabama. Not from the 1960s. Let's take a look at Selma, Alabama today, shall we? Selma, Alabama is the poorest city in Alabama. Check it. Selma, Alabama is the most dangerous place in Alabama for both murder and crime per capita. Selma, Alabama has the highest unemployment rate of any county, city, province in Alabama. And Selma has a 40% poverty rate. The iconic Selma, Alabama, pointed to as a beacon of hope for the civil rights movement, is now a city that's broken, torn, and destroyed, largely because of welfare and Democrat policies. All of you gentlemen screaming policy, policy, policy. I would like for you to show me where all of these policies are helping Black people achieve economic success, achieve marital success, family success, functional households. Show me where all these policies have done that. Now, my position has largely been that the problem is, with Black people in particular, is cultural and behavioral. If the problem with Black America is cultural and behavioral, there are no policies that are going to have a positive effect on that. None of them. I'll give you an example. I'm an auto damage appraiser. About 4 years ago, well, I go into horrible neighborhoods all the time, maybe 3-4 times a week. I'll go into some of the worst neighborhoods you can imagine. When I used to live in Memphis, Tennessee, I lived in Memphis for like 3 years, man. You would not believe the neighborhoods in Memphis. My God, I mean, just apartment complexes where half the apartments are boarded up and burned out. Single wide trailer parks where a third of the trailers are burned out and blown out. Children playing in these dilapidated trailers. I mean, dude, you wonder why I'm against these policies, because multiple times every week I have to go into these communities and see these people, talk to these people. I see how they live. But this one particular situation, I went to go settle a bodily injury claim with a young mother and her 3 children. Now, the children were adolescents, okay? So I had to write a check out to each one of the adolescents, made out to the mother on the child's behalf. They were all in the car when our insured rear-ended them. So I'm looking at the mom's name. I write out a check to her for her bodily injury. I set it aside. I write a check for the son's name. Oddly enough, the son's name is different than the mother. Set that check aside. I write out the check to the mother for the first daughter. Her last name is different. I set that check aside. I write out the final check for the final daughter. That name is different too. All 4 people, the mother and the 3 children, all have different last names. Okay? Now, some people don't see a problem with that. They don't see a problem with a single mom having multiple children by multiple different men. The culture and the behavior that Black people have accepted, the culture that has been fed by Democrat and leftist and progressive ideology, has ruined Black America. It has ruined us. And to tell you what, let me show you the stark difference between, well, actually, let me deal with the Republican policies again. MOT's in his feelings again, screaming at his computer, no doubt. And let me finish going through the Republican policies. I got ahead of myself. I apologize. So we have the tax code, low taxes, also certain aspects of the tax code that encourage marriage and encourage the birth of children, childhood tax credits. The policy being anti-abortion. Republicans are clearly anti-abortion. I don't know why these Democrats will not tell you why they support the death of 22 million Black children at the hands of Black women, and many of those Black women at the prompting of Black men to murder their children. I'd like to hear these Democrats defend abortion policy. They won't do it. Anti-welfare. I know that a lot of Democrats want more welfare programs, want more welfare policies. When you cannot point to one city where the welfare policy has helped the residents that are on it. How many of you have heard stories about Black women trading their food stamps, their food stamp card for other items like getting their nails done, getting their hair done? Excuse me, this happens all the time. The abuse of the system. Many of these women are paying $35, $40 in rent for their home. 2, 3-bedroom homes. I've heard of houses that women get on Section 8. 2, 3, 4 bedrooms houses. Amazing. These women don't take the savings every month between a $700 or $800 apartment and the $35, $40 they pay for the apartment. They don't take the savings, set it aside for their children's education, to move out of this dangerous community into a safer environment around better employment opportunities. How many of the women on welfare do that? How many of the families on welfare use welfare for that purpose? You know that many of these people take advantage of the programs. That's what they do. I've gone to homes where there's 2, 3 generations, sometimes 4 of women living all under the same roof. And more than likely, they're getting public assistance based on where they're living. Some communities, 90, 95% of the residents are on welfare. And you all want more of these wonderful policies for Black America. That's great. Let's go back to Republican policy, okay? Their love of small business. Now, Republicans often do cater to big business, and I have an issue with big business and their avoiding of paying taxes. I have an issue with that. I'm the guy that could do a better job of criticizing the Republican Party than any one of you. Any one of you. I can give a presentation on the problems with the Republican Party. Yours would pale in comparison. I've been studying them for over 12 years now. That's what I do for fun. Call me crazy. Okay. Now, their love of small business, deregulating. That's something Trump did when he came in the office. He got rid of hundreds of regulations that impede the development of small business. Did you know that many of these regulations are put in place by large businesses? Let me tell you why. Let's say I'm Lyft or Uber, right? And let's say I'm Nate's car ride service that I started here in South Carolina. And let's say my small car ride service is really taking market share. I got better software. I can charge lower rates for whatever reason. My business is exploding. So let's say Uber and Lyft see me taking market share from them. Uber and Lyft will have their lobbyists go to the Congress, go to the Senate, spread some money around and put in place, let's say, a piece of legislation, a regulation. And let's say that regulation said any car service with less than 10,000 participants, all the participants have to have $1 million in liability insurance on their vehicle. Most people don't have $1 million in liability insurance. So this regulation would impede the growth of my particular business. Big businesses do this all the time. Trump came in, got rid of tons of regulations, tons of them, making small business easier, okay? Let's talk about Trump in specific when you want to talk about policies. Let's talk about the prison reform. You know, a lot of you leftists and Democrats and feminists and progressives, you talk about what has Trump done, what has Trump done. Let's talk about it for a quick minute. Let's talk about prison reform that has freed over 8,000 Americans from unjust sentences. 7,000 of those people have been Black men and women that have been freed from extremely unjust 3 strikes prison terms. Black men and women that went to jail for stealing bread for a dime bag of weed. These brothers and sisters got 25 years to life oftentimes if it was their 3rd offense. Trump administration has gone through many of these issues, these particular offenses these people committed, and where they were low-level offenses, President Trump has pardoned them, cleaned their record, freed them from jail. 7,000 Black men and women going home to their families, hopefully to engage in productive lives. And you won't acknowledge that. See, my problem with a lot of you leftists is your incapability to acknowledge the good things he's done, because so many of you have been conditioned by MSNBC, CNN, and leftist media. 90% of the media in this country is leftist. Harvard University, which is no bastion of conservative thought, it's a liberal stronghold, did a survey of CNN and found that 93% of the news that CNN reports on Donald Trump is purely negative. Wall to wall, almost 24-hour coverage of Donald Trump, all in the negative. MSNBC was found to be reporting 96% negative on Donald Trump. Now, unless Donald Trump is Lucifer himself, I don't know how 96% of what he's done could be evil. You know, with the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, with the lowest Black unemployment and Hispanic unemployment in history, in recorded American history. You would think they'd have some positive things to report on. Manufacturing coming back, the job market roaring, the Dow and the NASDAQ hitting records. You think they'd have some positive stuff to report on. But no, of course they don't. Of course they don't. The leftists, the liberals, the progressives, they stay mired in their lunacy, their propensity to scream and yell and curse and laugh and all the other insane things that they like to do because they can't prove their point and they don't have a leg to stand on. Because none of them will address the abortion issue. None of them will address convicted pedophile trans story time all over the country. This is a program where mentally ill men who think they're women dress up in heels and glittery gowns and sit and read to 5- and 6-year-old children in libraries all across the country. Now, 3 of these individuals were found to be convicted pedophiles, and those particular programs got ended in those particular cities. But this program is still going strong in many other cities. I have several videos of these people that I'm going to be using on my political channel. One that's particularly horrifying is a gentleman, a mentally ill man who thinks he's a woman, who gets up and tells a bunch of 5-year-old boys and girls to get up because he's going to show them how to twerk. You can Google the video if you want. It's on YouTube. Trans man teaches children how to twerk. Just go check it out. Okay? You don't have to believe me. Donald Trump and his funding of HBCUs at the highest level ever in recorded American history, and making that support continuous infinitum. I actually thought it was for 30 years. No, I was wrong. It's continuous. The HBCUs will never have to ask for their funding again, and it has been funded at the highest level possible. My potential interlocutor, the general, when we were on Bernard Riley's show, he said something that was just incorrect. He said, Donald Trump doesn't never meet with Black scholars or Black business people. It was just patently false. And again, I'm not attacking the general. I have the utmost respect for him. But it was just wrong, like a lot of leftists and liberals are wrong, because you're never going to hear the good he does watching MSNBC. Ever in a million years. You're never going to hear it. So Donald Trump has funded HBCUs with particular focus on their STEM programs. He had an entire table with about 15 to 20 top Black scholars and heads of these HBCUs. These Black men and a few Black women told him what they wanted, and he gave it to them. Now, will the left give him any credit for that? Of course not. Let's talk more policy, folks. How about police reform? A lot of you know nothing about the executive order that Trump signed a week after George Floyd's murder because you watch MSNBC and CNN. That's what you watch. You will never hear anything having to do with anything good that this man does. So let's discuss about it. His police reform, an executive order in response to the George Floyd killing, okay? The day after George Floyd was killed, he tweeted out, "This is a tragedy, and we will have our attorney general looking into it." And then a week later, he signs police reform, an executive order for it. Now, of course, to the left, those aren't going to be enough policies for you, because you're looking for policies to cover you from the time you're born to the time that you die. You're looking for Republicans to give you a litany of policy initiatives and welfare programs that can pay for this, pay for that, when you don't understand that conservative ideology is about removing the hindrance of government, Whether you understand it or not, government oftentimes gets in the way of people in their advancement. My supervisor went to Clemson University. He went during the 70s. He tells me the story often. It cost him, when he went to Clemson, it cost him approximately $2,000 a semester to go to Clemson in the late 60s, early 70s. To go to Clemson now, it's approximately $40,000 to $50,000. Do you know why? The reason it's so expensive to go to Clemson now, one of the reasons, is because of guaranteed government loans for college. You see, colleges and universities used to have to keep their costs in check so that people could afford to go to college. But when the government came in and said, hey, folks, I'm going to guarantee hundreds and billions of dollars to loans, to all these students who need them. What did the colleges do? They raised the cost of their tuitions exponentially, thousands of percent. Now, your state colleges are $30,000 a semester. Your out-of-state colleges, private institutions can be anywhere from 50, 60, 70. Nobody can afford this without the loans. Government making a problem through their policies. Welfare, a huge problem. You cannot point to anyone living better because of welfare. Many people just end up taking advantage of the program, and they give birth to several children who know nothing about hard work, initiative, stick-to-itiveness, delayed gratification. They know nothing about these things because their single unwed mothers don't teach them. But you've heard the saying that anytime you subsidize something, you get more of it. So we subsidize single motherhood, we get more single motherhood. We subsidize broken homes, we get more broken homes. That's how it works, folks. That's how it works. Now, what I was going to do as a favor to my interlocutor, and I don't know if this has ever happened on Brother Xavier's channel, I was going to give him some things that I liked about past Democrat policy. How about that? I was going to assist my opponent with some things that I can point to in the past, pieces of legislation, laws that Democrats tried to enact that I actually agreed with. Look at that. How about that? For kindness. So let's deal with the New Deal first, okay? Franklin Delano Roosevelt in 1933 enacted the New Deal in an attempt to get the American society out of the Great Depression that started in October of 1929. Now, the New Deal did not get America out of the Great Depression. It lasted about 10 years. What got America out of the Great Depression was World War II and the gearing up for the war, the creation of tanks, planes, getting the economy churning again. That's what got us out of the Great Depression. But let me talk about a couple of the programs that came out of the New Deal that I actually liked, because whether these leftists, liberals, and progressives like it or not, I am balanced. Again, I could give a better presentation on things wrong with the Republican Party than any of you ever could, I promise you. So the Democrats actually had two programs in the New Deal that I actually liked. Believe it or not, I'm a conservative that likes the idea of Social Security. Social Security came out of the New Deal. I like the idea of the elderly being able to have some type of investment that they can put their money in, and in their old age, have money that they can draw off of so they're not left abandoned and not able to take care of themselves financially. I like that idea, okay? Only problem is, like with most government programs, Social Security has just become a slush fund. You've heard of Democrats and Republicans doing nothing but putting IOUs into the Social Security fund. The money actually isn't even there. That's why they talk about Social Security going bankrupt and how people my age, 45, 46, there very well could not be Social Security for us because the program keeps getting pummeled, okay? Just demonstrating just how absolutely inefficient government is. I said on Bernard Riley's program the last time I was there, Medicare, which all of the Democrats that were vying for the presidency, when asked by NBC News during the debate, are you in favor of Medicare for all? Every Democrat raised their hand. Every single one of them. So they're in favor of Medicare for all. Well, do you know that almost 40% of Medicare is fraudulent? Another government program that suffers from fraud, graft, and corruption, as most government programs do, unfortunately. The government is not efficient. Small business is efficient because if you do a bunch of backward bullshit and fraud, your business goes out of business. You don't have an unlimited source of income like the federal government does to keep your business afloat. The reason these government programs don't collapse and fail is because they can just add more money. They can raise more taxes for it. But you leftists, you progressives, you want all of these government policies to be enacted when all you're going to have is more opportunity for more graft, more fraud, and more corruption. The best individual to be in charge of their money is the person that made it. No one's going to care more how that money gets allocated. Nobody. Than the person that made the money. So let's put as much money as we can back in the hands of the American people. How about that? Now, there was also another program in the New Deal. It was the WPA. It was the Work Program Administration, where FDR had hundreds of thousands of low-skilled men start working to refurbish and maintain federal buildings, federal structures, and pave, repair, and maintain roads all across the United States. I like the idea of that program. I really do. Putting young men to work, giving them skills to help combat the problem that was going on during the Great Depression. Great program. Great program. So let's go to the next bit of Democrat overtures to Black people that I like. Now, the New Deal wasn't an overture to Black people. It was an actual program to help combat the Great Depression. But this was a direct overture to Black Americans. And that's Harry Truman's initiative to desegregate the military. My opponent, of course, would be greatly interested in this. He's a military man. I believe he's in the Army. If I'm wrong, forgive me, General. But in 1948, Harry Truman put forth an initiative to desegregate the military. It's a great idea. Great idea. And he did it. And he won 71% of the Black vote. Unheard of in the annals of American history. And then, of course, there was, civil rights legislation in the 1960s. Now, somebody mentioned Barry Goldwater. I can't remember who it was. I want to talk about Barry Goldwater and John F. Kennedy and LBJ just for a quick second. Because people think Barry Goldwater was a racist. I don't think he was. I can almost bet none of you have listened to a Barry Goldwater speech. I have. During his 1964 election for the Republican candidacy, the United States. And so we had LBJ, who for his entire political career was against civil rights legislation. He was from Texas. I believe he was a congressman from Texas. I don't think he was a senator. I believe he was a congressman from Texas. All his legislative career, he was against civil rights legislation, completely against it. A good old Southern Democrat. They were always against Black people, always. Now, Barry Goldwater was against the civil rights legislation, and here's why. And if you won't listen to facts, if you won't listen to me explain things, if you're going to dismiss it out of hand, you might as well turn the channel. If you're wrapped up in your emotions and your tears, that's foolishness. Why don't you just listen and check what I say to see if it's true? That's all you have to do. Be open to learn something, for God's sakes. Barry Goldwater said in several of his campaign speeches, he said that segregation was, quote, morally wrong. Barry Goldwater said that in my city, in my town, segregation was largely a thing of the past. He said segregation was not a good business idea for whites, especially in the South. He said many businesses had been integrated in his town. But if you understand anything about conservatism, conservatism does not want the government forcing you to do anything. They don't want that. Barry Goldwater said forced integration will develop resentment in whites and could lead to violence. And he was right. We saw violence all over this country with forced integration. The National Guard had to bring black students into different schools because of forced integration. Now, on that same program, I said, you know what? I don't have any proof of this, but my gut tells me that a lot of civil rights legislation was just about black people abandoning their economic base. I've said this before on different platforms that with where we were in the 1920s and 30s as black people, from the late 1800s up to the 1920s, the control we had on our economics, we had towns like Greenwood. You all call it Black Wall Street. It was destroyed in 1921. This town had 30 grocery stores, had 5 hotels, distribution chains to get products developed by sharecroppers and farmers into other black towns. And what most of you refuse to acknowledge is during that entire time, from the mid to late 1800s to the early 1920s, black people were solidly Republican. This is not an opinion. This is irrefutable historical fact that none of you are going to be able to deny. I'm sorry. It's just, you just can't. No matter how upset it makes you, no matter how much it flies in the face of your current leftist and Democrat ideology, black people did their very best as Republicans in this country. And let me give you a few numbers to the legislators and the legislative bodies that were almost all black Republican in the South. The Texas Republican Party was started in 1867 by 150 blacks and 20 whites. Black people ran the Republican Party in the South, from Virginia to Florida out to Texas. We ran it, okay? 2 out of the 3 statewide chairmen in Texas of the Republican Party were black men. Blacks, like I said, started the Republican Party throughout the South. 127 black Republican state legislators in Louisiana, 112 in Alabama, 190 in South Carolina, 41 in Georgia, Virginia, Florida. It goes on and on and on throughout the South. All of your legislators in state houses were black Republicans with a minority of white Republicans. And on the other side, complete white Democrats. Now, it's funny that the Democrat Party saw that the slaves were freed in 1865. And oddly enough, the Ku Klux Klan was started in 1866 by the Democrat Party. I don't know why you're so committed to these people. I really don't. You know, people on the left accuse conservative black men on the right of trying to be white, when it was black Republican men that simply built their own communities, over 130 thriving black economic hotbeds of activity all throughout the South and the West. In these communities, the black dollar would circulate up to 3 years before it ever left, because there were milliners, dentist offices, groceries. Everything that was necessary for that community was in that community. And we gave all of that up for the promise of integration. That's what we did. I've said repeatedly that black people in America have a buying power of approximately $1.2 trillion. It's a lot of money to be in such a racist society, wouldn't you say? However, if we would have stayed on course with the owning and operating of our own communities, We had brothers filing for dozens of patents, creating products. We had the Negro Leagues. We had everything that we needed to dominate. But we took our eye off the prize, and integration became the goal. Integration was led by liberals. Liberals convincing Black people that the answer to all of our prayers is our children sitting next to a white boy or a white girl in school. Being able to go into a white business. Please help me understand this. I'm a Black man. I go into a white establishment. The patrons don't want me there. They start spitting on me. The owner doesn't want me there. He starts hitting me. And I fight him so I can give him my money. Can anyone help me understand that? Please. Because this is what this is the nonsense we were brought into as Black people. We were convinced to abandon what was ours in exchange for integration. It is the left that encouraged integration. It is the left that was in the White House with Kennedy, dancing Black men with white women, Black women with white men. There's a famous Black actress that danced with Kennedy. It was all the rage in Black America. Black women's hearts palpitating. I don't remember the actress's name. I'm gonna look it up. I should have looked it up before I came in. But go look it up if you don't believe me, folks. I tell you nothing but the truth. So we took our eyes off the prize largely. A known racist and segregationist named LBJ took the mantle from a dead Kennedy for civil rights legislation, and he became the father of it all of a sudden. It was the only way he was going to win against Goldwater was to get the Black vote. And Black America gave a man that said, quote, if I get this legislation passed, I'll have these niggers voting Democrat for the next 200 years. That's a quote from LBJ, your Democrat president. LBJ won the election with an unprecedented 94% of the Black vote. Wow. And now Black people have never voted majority Republican again. 60 plus years of us voting Democrat. While we were voting Republican, we had an 80% marriage rate. While voting Democrat, it's down to 29%. 80% of our children born to two-parent family homes. While we were Republicans, while we're Democrats, 78% of our children are born to unwed mothers. Abortion wasn't a thing at that time, but under the Democrat Party, we have 22 million abortions and counting. I believe Black women have over 350,000 abortions every year. Now, let's see what else I can address for you, gentlemen. I just hope you're out of your emotions, really. The yelling and screaming and cursing it's such a sign of mental illness. It really is. It really is. I would never do something like that, just to let you know. Let's see, I've got a few notes here. I want to make sure I covered everything. All right. Let's talk about, I forgot one thing in reference to Donald Trump, and that's the opportunity zone. I covered that in my presentation on Bernard Riley's program, Why I'm Voting for Donald Trump. Let me go over it with you too, since we all agree that Donald Trump has done nothing for Black people, right? The opportunity zones are 8,776 investment zones for poor communities, both Black, white, Latino. Most of these zones are in or adjacent to poor Black communities, the vast majority of them. $25 to $30 billion has already been allocated to people who would not ordinarily qualify for traditional means of financing. President Trump promised $100 billion would end up going through this program. And yeah, I don't have any way to verify that, but the program is to last from 2018 to 2028, 10 years. And if we're 2.5 years in, and already they've allocated $25 to $30 billion, then it could very well be that we may get to the $100 billion. You see, Republicans are in favor of entrepreneurship, and whether Black people realize it or not, It's not government programs that's going to save us. It's entrepreneurship that will. It's small business ownership that will. Let me read some numbers for you that I got from blackdemographics.com on black business. Let me see here. All right. Every year, white-owned businesses create 55.9 million jobs. Every year, Asian-owned businesses create 3.8 million jobs. Hispanic-owned businesses create 2.5 million jobs. And oddly enough, Black-owned businesses create 1 million jobs every year. Again, that's according to blackdemographics.com. Now, for a long time, we were the second largest demographic in this country. Now we're the third. We're behind the Latino community. And what I would ask all my leftist, Democrat, feminist, and progressive policy lovers, what exactly are the policies that allow Hispanic-owned businesses to have 1.5 times the job growth and creation that Black people do? Could you list those policies, please? Can you give me the policies that allow Asian-owned businesses to have a 4 times the rate of job creation that Black businesses do? Could any of my brilliant leftist, Democrat, progressive, feminist, pro-abortion, pro-gay, pro-trans, pro-open border Democrat folks, can you give me these policies that enable Asians and Latinos to have considerable more job creation than Blacks do? Or is it their culture and their behavior that enables them to be so successful coming here as immigrants? It's not policies, gentlemen. It's culture, it's behavior. Black culture largely, unfortunately, is toxic. Black women are the most stalwart supporters of Democrat and feminist policies. They are. They vote 95% Democrat on most elections. I want to ask you, gentlemen, something. How in the world can you complain about Black women's behavior and then vote exactly the same as they do? Can any of you help me understand that? Treat me like I'm a retarded 4-year-old who doesn't know anything, because I'm sure that's what some of you think, even though none of you can challenge anything that I've said intelligently. You'll come up here and scream and yell and cry and cuss and do the MOT, but you won't engage me in just civil, intelligent debate, showing me where I'm wrong and showing me where you're right. Well, I hope some of you will. I really do. I really do. But you can't name the policies that enable Asians and Latinos to have such better job creation than we do, because there aren't policies. It's the culture of the community. These immigrants come here. They have family that help them, that assist them. They can get financing from their family. They can get financing from banks at times. They'll qualify for the programs that other minorities have access to, like we do, but we just don't take advantage of. And they build big businesses. They build successful families, legacies based off their culture and their behavior, not a bunch of policies. Do you really think the millions of immigrants that struggle to get here every year are coming here for policies? Are they coming here for an opportunity to be free from oppression? Because many of their countries have strict religious beliefs and strict behavioral codes that prevents them from starting businesses. You have to go through all this governmental red tape. And they come here for the freedom to start a business. They come here for the freedom to raise their children the way they want in their particular religion. They come here for freedom, not government policy. Conservatives want the least amount of government intervention. That's what they want. So when you demand a litany of policies from us, it makes no sense. I can't give you 50 policies that Republicans want to enact to touch your life from the time you're born to the time you die. We just don't do that. So to get up here bragging and acting like you've made some brilliant proclamation, you've had some amazing epiphany, it's nonsense. That's not what we believe. It's just not. Now, you can disagree with that. That's fine. You can be for a bunch of policies, that's fine. But you can't attack a people that don't operate on that basis. We just don't. We want a strong military. We want low taxes. We want a secure border. We want deregulation. We want it easy to start businesses. We want policies that will help enact family creation, will encourage marriage. And I got a whole spiel on marriage. I'm not for state-sanctioned marriage. Don't put that in my mouth, please. But private and corporate marriages are good options for those that are interested in that. I've said even on Ramil's program, and we know what Ramil thinks about marriage. I went up there and spoke on behalf of certain types of marriage, and that at the very least, if you're going to have children, give them that. Give them a marriage. Give them the opportunity to grow up in a two-parent household. That gives them the best opportunity for success. All the social scientists agree on that. They just do. Good gracious. How long have I been speaking, Xavier? Do you know?
About an hour and some change.
Okay, I want to wrap it up at about an hour.
Go ahead. You got the floor, man. You got the floor.
I appreciate that. Bro. Let me do one thing real quick because I seem to have misplaced something. All right, let's go. I got one last thing I want to address to all my Democrats, feminists, leftists, progressives who are in favor of abortion, open borders, welfare, pride parades with men having oral sex in the street. Yes, this is happening all over the country. The left is in complete favor of all these pride parades. There are men having oral sex in the middle of the street in many of these pride parades. This is all what the Democrats want. I'm sorry, folks. You got to defend your policies. Your policies, right? Now, I said on Bernard Riley's program that there are college professors writing articles in favor of pedophilia. A lot of people didn't believe me. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of names. You can Google the name Thomas K. Hubbard. He's a University of Texas professor who's accused of promoting pedophilia in his writings. Let me see here. There was, let me read a particular quote. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, this gentleman talked about the benefit of children having sex with adults. Go ahead and Google it and check it out for yourself, folks. There was two more that I was looking for. Let me see here. A gentleman by the name of K-A-H-O-I-E. I'm not sure how to say his name. He is a Boston University professor who also has written about the positive aspects of pedophilia. In Time magazine, it was either Time or Newsweek, they had an article written by a pedophile. Now, a pedophile is somebody that wants to engage in sexual activity with a child, but he or she may not have gone through with it. This particular individual had stated he had never gone through with it, but the entire article that was in the back of Time or Newsweek was this expression of sympathy, a desire to understand the plight of a man that wants to have sex with children. And we all know that the university system is where much of the left's intelligentsia comes from. Your leftist teenager goes to college and becomes a leftist radical. All over universities and college campuses, they're stifling free speech. They yell conservatives off the campus. You can be kicked out of school for taking a picture with an AR-15. This is happening to students in this country. People accuse the right of being Nazis. The Nazis burned the books The Nazis banned certain language and words. The Nazis were socialists, much like the left proclaimed to be today, Marxists and socialists. One of your presidential candidates, Bernie Sanders, in the 80s, said in speeches, I'm a communist, a self-declared communist and socialist. You have to answer for the people on your side of the spectrum. You can't just scream, we need good policy, but you don't address all these horrible positions that the Democrat Party has come to take. I don't understand. And finally, let me address MOT directly, because you did something very disrespectful. And if you want to disrespect me in the chat, you're more than welcome to. I was on Bernard Riley's program Saturday. And again, you notice I don't attack individuals. I don't attack people in this sector. I attack ideology. I attack institutions. I was talking about being a Black conservative. And there was a gentleman that came up on the platform that had a tractor trailer as an avatar. I thought it was MOT. The gentleman started speaking, and you can go check this for the record if you want to. The gentleman started speaking. He was saying, oh, well, you know, MOT's running from a fight. And I said, whoa, brother, MOT don't run from no fights, man. MOT stands on what he believes. Don't say that. I defended this individual. I spoke kindly of him. And then because I espoused conservative perspectives and points of view, he hopped on the platform later and was so angry and incensed at me, he started screaming at the top of his lungs. His voice broke. Go listen to it. Have you ever listened to somebody scream so loud their voice breaks? What sane individual does something like that? Tell me. You see, I treat people in real life the way I treat them on the internet. I act the same exact way. On platforms, I say, sir, I say, madam. I ask for my turn to speak. I wait. I thank the host. I thank whoever brings me on. That's how I act on panels. I would never scream at a man and curse at a man, because that's not how I do in real life. But let me tell you something, MOT. If you would have done that to me in real life, I would have broken your left leg. And let me tell you why. My son and I, all we do is practice Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in my garage. If you go to East Coast Fighter, you can see a picture of my son. The owner of the school put my son's picture as the main picture on his school's website. He's so proud of my son and his devotion to his craft. We're working to get him into the UFC, hopefully in the next 3 years. But that's all I do, is I practice those disciplines. And if any man ever came to my face and screamed in my face and called me a motherfucker 10 or 12 times, I would kick you in your left leg, because I kick hardest with my right. I would kick you in a way that would separate your patella from the base of your knee. I know how to do that. Or I might have gone up a couple of inches and kicked you 8 or 9 times till I cracked your fucking femur. I probably couldn't break it, but I could crack it. I promise you. Now, I'm no tough guy, but I'll be damned if I let somebody fucking come in my face and spit in it after I said and did nothing to you. I don't ever want to share a fucking platform with you again. You came on Ramil's, and I wasn't going to do that on Ramil's, but I'll address you here and now. If I don't disrespect you, if I don't insult you by name, if I don't curse you out by name, you have no reason to be doing that to me. And if you come on a platform and do it, now, if I address a man, I want you to be able to come up and address me. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And I explained to Brother Xavier, MOT can come up for 2 minutes. He can yell at the top of his lungs like he always does. He can scream and he can curse and call me a motherfucker. I'm not going to stoop to your level. I'm better, smarter, and I'm a more dignified man than that. I don't engage in that type of behavior. And then Brother Xavier can either kick you off, kicking and screaming after 2 minutes, or I'll back off and go. Because I'm never going to let anybody pull me into that type of behavior. I'm not that kind of man. Now, if you want to come up and address me, feel free to do it. You got 2 minutes. I'm finished.
All right. Now, Brother Nate laid down a lot of shit. It's a lot to swallow. He's asking for Brother M.O.T. to come up. I don't know if Brother M.O.T. is still in the chat or not. I have no idea. But also, if there's someone out there who wishes to debate Brother Nate's points that he just laid out, feel free.
Please. Respectfully.
Yep. Well, I'm going to let, because this is how I do things. Now, my man Nate was supposed to go against the general. The general didn't show up. So Nate is here. Nate has the floor. So if there's somebody that wants to debate Nate, I'm going to let Brother Nate pick who comes up and debates. He has that right because he's here. Okay?
Brother,
he's here.
Anyone who wants to come up and discuss in a respectful manner, I invite you. I want to hear your opinions. I want to hear your positions. Absolutely. You know what I was going to do? If I would have won the debate, I was going to ask you, Xavier, not to even do the tally. Because this is your channel. You do what you want with it. I can't tell you what to do with it. But I don't even care about winning over a black man. I don't care. I'm not going to go throughout this sector bragging about how I beat the general if I beat him. I wouldn't give a shit about that. I don't want to win over a black man. I genuinely want black men to win. I really do. That's what I care about. I wouldn't even care about the tally. Y'all can give it to the general if you want. I don't care. Give it to him.
Brother M.O.T. just hit me up in my email, so I'm going to send him the link right now.
Sure, he's got 2 minutes.
I will send him the link right now. Doing that as we speak, folks. Put on my damn glasses, but I think I look better with them off. I don't wear them all the time. I don't wear them all the time. Try not to look as old as I really am, folks.
Trust me, bro. I just turned 46, man. I know the feeling.
Yeah, man, you gotta squint and shit, shit's at a distance, you gotta put your glasses on so you can read little writing and all this kind of nonsense.
It's a blessing to get older too, brother. It really is.
Yeah, it is. Shit, I'm a grandfather, man. Shit,
Salute,
man.
Salute, brother. Salute.
I never thought I would have got this damn old. God damn it. All right, well, I sent him the link, so we're gonna wait on him.
Absolutely.
And like I said, if there's anybody out there who wants to, because this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to wait on Brother M.O.T. We're going to wait on Brother M.O.T. And, if there's anybody else out there who wants to, debate against Brother Nate, feel free to come up. And because I'll, at some point I'm going to throw it in the chat and we'll see what happens. But like I said, I mean, Nate has the preference right now because, see, guess what? He's up here tonight and he's due to the debate. So whoever Nate want to debate, whoever he picks to debate, that's who's going to debate. So
I welcome one and all brothers to come up. And it's
no
not that,
shit.
No, it's not some arrogant shit. I want to hear everybody's perspective. As long as you can do it respectfully, we're cool. Come on up, man. Lob your best at me so I can try to answer. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you. I just hope you'll answer my questions also.
And hit that goddamn like button before I turn the fucking chat off. I mean, I'm tired of saying this shit every night. Every goddamn night, I gotta come up here, tell y'all to do something that takes 2 seconds of your life. 2 seconds, man. That's it. 2 seconds. At least the people who hit the dislike had enough energy to go ahead and hit the damn dislike. I didn't have to tell them to do that. They did it on their own. But I gotta tell y'all, I got 73 of y'all in here? Come on, man. I only got 64 likes, it looks like. Come on, man. You can do better than that, man. We can do
J.I.
better than that.
Hey,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, brother Xavier. J.I. asked a question in the super chat.
Okay, let me put it on the big board. I got you,
Okay.
brother J.I. Let me put it on the big board. Oh, no, wrong one. My bad. He says, is he for or against financial abortions for men?
Wow, that's a good question, J.I. You know, I haven't given it much thought. If I had to shoot from the hip on that, if women are going to insist on having the right to abort their children, I think it's only fair that a man has the right to abort his financial responsibilities to the child if he doesn't want it. Why would you give woman complete and total carte blanche where a man doesn't even have a right to have a say in whether or not his child lives or dies? But a man can't challenge a woman stating, I want to have this child, but the man saying, look, I don't want to have it. Now, ultimately, brothers, it's your responsibility not to get the woman pregnant. I mean, as a conservative, I'm all for personal accountability. I mean, you have to be responsible for what you do, but so do women. You know, I've said oftentimes in Facebook posts and things of that nature, I said, why does the federal government make a man be a father, but doesn't make a woman be a mother? A woman has no obligation to be a mom. A woman can abort her child. She can put it up for adoption. A woman could leave her child on the firehouse steps and walk away. No financial obligation, no obligation whatsoever to that child. And the man doesn't have that option. Why doesn't he? You know? So whenever I think of a position, I look at it from both sides, and it's hard to argue in favor of a man's obligation to take care of a child when a woman doesn't have that same obligation. So, you know, good question, J.I. Very good question.
Well, brother MOT has arrived, so I'm going to go ahead and bring brother MOT into the room. Brother MOT, what's good with it, man?
Hey, how's it going, man? Can you hear me pretty good?
Can hear you great.
Okay, this is going to be my last time debating any conservative at all, period, for the most part on YouTube. Because when you come up to these debates, you normally are speaking with culture warrior people who use all the talking points from AM Talk Radio and actual Fox News. So when I have a history of policy from both sides and the other side doesn't believe in policy at all, I'm already operating at a disadvantage. So I won't be addressing any more of this nonsense. Their numbers are not even that high. Even if we were to agree on policy, since conservatives don't believe in going to the government for any type of things to be overturned in any way, there's no reason to talk to these people about anything. So this is my last time addressing this with these type of people. So I will go, because I did write down your first 7 or 8 points, LilBigNate. So I will go over those. All right.
Well, MOT.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me go through your points.
Well, no.
Okay.
I was hoping you would address your disrespect of me. That's what I wanted to talk to you about.
No.
That's why I wanted you to come up.
Okay. I am being disrespectful by never talking to another conservative again. Since you don't have anything to bring to the table, since you do not want to discuss policy at all. Oh, no, you can say all this infuriating stuff by yourself and for yourself. Because remember, the government's perfect to a conservative. So I'm just going to go through your points.
Okay, sure.
And get off this panel and go to my actual chat to discuss how we deal with conservatives going here on forward. Because you're not a conservative. You're not. So
you're not sane, screaming at the top of your lungs.
Okay.
Yes. Every other word.
I will scream at a person who doesn't know what he's talking about.
You scream at everybody.
Talking about politics. Okay.
You scream at everybody.
Open borders. The Democratic Party is not for open borders. When Barack Obama was in office, he deported more people than George W. Bush when he was in office for 8 years. That's a fact.
Can I address that?
No, because it's a fact.
No,
okay?
you're correct.
No, I'm gonna. I said I'm gonna address your point, and then I'm gonna get off here.
You don't allow a response.
Okay, because you don't believe in policy. If you don't
Go
believe
ahead,
in policy,
MOT.
why would I talk to you about policy? You don't even believe in redressing the government for anything, so shut your mouth. Next one.
Well, see, now I'm not going to stick my mouth, MOT.
Defunding the
Mentally
police.
ill MOT.
Defunding
Mentally
the
ill
police.
MOT.
Defunding the police.
You don't get to boss people around.
Defunding the police.
You don't get to boss people around.
Defunding the police. When you remove that much money from the police department and the police department still functions, that means that money should have never been there in the first place.
The police department is functioning.
No, that's not what that's about. If they remove $1 billion from the NYPD and the NYPD is still functioning as a police department, none of that matters. None of that matters, guy. None of that matters. I don't care about that.
Do you hear, folks? None of that matters.
Defunding
Murder
the police. Being
up 50% in Chicago doesn't matter to MOT.
I don't even care about that. I don't live there. I don't live there. I don't live there. Let me explain to you what defunding the police means. Let me explain to you what defunding the police means.
You heard that out of his mouth.
Let me explain to you what defunding the police means. Defunding the police. Now, when the police department is normally came up with, there is normally, I know in Denver, there is normally one police officer per 10,000 residents in an actual city. In actual smaller cities, obviously it goes down. There's maybe 2 or 3 per 20 or 30,000 people. The rest of that money that comes into that department goes for all other things that has nothing to do with taking care of the citizens in that specific area. That's why it's called defunding the police.
Murders are up 50% in Chicago.
Oh my God. Okay, let me go to the third point. Bathroom laws. Again, the fear-mongering around bathroom laws is not specifically so a 4-year-old can meet some man in a dress in a bathroom. What are you talking about? Bro, listen.
Tell me what it's about.
The problem is, like, dude, I don't do the culture warrior thing, man. I'm just gonna go through these points and I'm gonna get up off of here. Because remember, you're not for policy. I'm not a white person who's afraid of America. So this stuff doesn't even apply to me. When it came out of your mouth, that's why I'm actually addressing your points. So
where are the
bathroom
curtains in the screaming? I'm not used to this.
Listen. No, I'm actually giving you something that you can't actually handle.
I will destroy every one of your talking points.
Okay, with the bathroom laws. The bathroom laws for people for whatever gender to be in there. I don't care. I'm not going to be in the bathroom for a long period of time. It does not affect me. I'm not afraid of transgender people. And I guarantee you I can defend myself if something happens. If something happens with somebody, they already have laws in place so that way these people can go to jail when that happens. There's no use of fear-mongering over something, this actual issue. The next issue.
Grown men going in the bathroom with little girls is okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, your Republican Party could easily overturn those laws. They have a 6-3 Supreme Court. You want to know why they haven't overturned it? Because they don't want to overturn it. Let me get to the next point. Let me get to the next point. You have
everything you say is wrong.
It can be challenged to the Supreme Court that is 6-3 conservative, just like abortion can be. And I'm going to go over why that's not the case. So,
go ahead.
Yeah, all right. So, an end to private property. I don't. You haven't really fleshed out how that's going to be. Again, another fear-mongering tactic. You haven't said what type of private property, under what circumstances.
I repeated what the Democrats said.
But you got to cite a policy that they're trying to put in place. Otherwise, it comes off as just conservative talking point.
I repeated what the Democrats said.
What's the policy behind it? How is it going to work? That's your responsibility whenever you point out a policy that you disagree with.
Policy. They're floating the ideas of ending private property now.
Okay, what's the circumstance?
So I'm going to speak out against it. My job is to speak out against that.
I own a lot of private property, sir. I don't think that's the case. Remember, you haven't put anything in place.
Why are you writing in favor of it then? Why are Democrat
I
intelligentsia
don't
writing in
even
favor of
know
it?
what that is. Like, okay, so you
Of course
think
you
all
don't.
these people in the country who vote for a particular party is going to give up their private property because some person said something in some place where you can't even fully describe it? This is why I say it doesn't mean anything.
Beto
The
O'Rourke,
next
I
point.
played Beto
The
O'Rourke.
next point.
I
The
played
next
Beto O'Rourke saying he would take your
No,
guns.
that's about
I
guns,
played
and
Beto
I will
O'Rourke
get to that.
saying he would
Let
take
me
your
go
guns.
to the next. I know. I haven't even got to Nate. I haven't got to it yet. Why are you playing the role of MOT and not playing the role?
I'm not yelling or cursing.
Okay.
I'm yelling. I'm not
The
cursing.
next point.
I'm not cursing.
The next point. The next point. The next point. Abortion. Right now, the conservatives have a 6-3 majority on the Supreme Court. Normally, when they cannot overturn abortion, they have all these cases that they have piled up in the circuit that goes to the Supreme Court for a 5-4 split Democrat. Now that we have a 6-3 weighted Supreme Court for conservatives, you see no abortion laws that are being challenged up to the high court so they can overturn abortion.
They don't have to be challenged up to the high court. There are several legislative initiatives.
And abortion is a medical procedure. If you want to get rid of the medical procedure, you have to challenge it up to the high court like they did all the other times that they had all these challenges to abortion. The next thing on the list, guns being taken away. Now, Beto O'Rourke did say that. I do want everyone to go get gun training. I don't want you to have high capacity magazines where you could be laying down a lot of death in a short period of time. I don't care how scared as fuck as you are. When they came up with the Second Amendment, the type of guns that they were talking about wasn't the guns that we have on the actual market right now. I understand these people are scared of nothing, but I would rather you get a pistol and go get trained. So that way you don't need a high capacity magazine that you're going to mow down, and those bullets are going to go through plenty of walls when you're supposed to be doing personal, actual security for yourself, not putting everybody else in danger of you whenever they're around in the same area. Okay, the next thing. Ending cash bail. If you knew anything about the criminal justice system, you would know that most of these people are arrested for BS reasons. And the cash bail, because they can't make bail, is the reason why they stay in jail till an actual trial. They go to the trial most of the time, and most things end in a plea bargain. So if you're setting an arbitrarily high cash bail that you know a person cannot pay, you're actually sending people to jail without a trial. Now, I do not believe in this if these are for capital crimes, things that are caught on tape for video and all that type of stuff. Cash bail is the reason why a lot of people stay in jail for way longer period of times than they need to, when they should just be released under their own recognizance and allowed to go home. Most of this stuff should be tickets. Unless you actually cause bodily harm, that's when you should be locked up. Most of these things that have to do with any type of bail ends up being a whole bunch of nonsense at the end of the day, and it ends up getting pleaded down and never going to a court in the first place. But the person is actually sitting behind bars because they can't pay bail. I don't want a bail system. If the person is actually guilty, put their ass on trial tomorrow and lock their ass up. I don't want a bail system. Okay, the actual next thing. All right. This is the premier premise of conservatism, especially this strand of black conservatism that don't talk about policy. The premier case for conservatism is we don't need no stinking government, but we expect for the government to make sure that they're going to protect everything else that we do in society. Okay, if you don't believe in government, if you're never going to ask for anything in government, why would you partner with these type of conservatives? If they don't believe in policy, if they don't have an encyclopedic level and knowledge of policy, and they play this culture vulture, AM talk radio type of game, don't take these people serious. They're not serious about anything. Okay, small business taxes. Again, if you are a black conservative and America is perfect, why would you be worried about low taxes for business. Republicans,
Saying
the
no
actual
conservative ever
conservative,
said
the actual conservative
I
party
never heard a conservative say America was perfect.
never been for small business in this country. They're normally for large ass corporations. And ever since the Citizens United, that the 5-4 Supreme Court split by the conservative party in this country that was complained about by no black conservative yet, that they've ever redressed their party. That they ever redressed their party with.
You know that for a
the
fact?
Problem, yes, I do, sir.
You do.
Yes,
Okay,
I
good.
do. Okay.
Good.
I'm not gonna go over Supreme Court 5-4 splits of conservatives voting for Citizens United. That's your job to know that. That's your side of the aisle.
No. You said no conservative is spoken out against it. You talking loud doesn't mean you're right. You talking loud doesn't mean you're right, MOT.
Okay, you haven't sent another challenge up to the Supreme Court overturning Citizens United since you have this 6-3 split, have you? The answer is no, you haven't. Thank you.
You said no conservative has said anything about Citizens United. You said no conservative has said anything about it. That's a lie.
And I corrected my statement additionally by saying ever since you had your 6-3 Supreme Court split on the Supreme Court, the conservatives have not set up another bill or actual challenge to Citizens United, allowing infinite money, dark money, in the political actual situation to be overturned. That's what I meant. Sorry if I misspoke, sir. The very next one, deregulation. Okay, deregulation. That's another word for polluting the skies and polluting the waters and allowing all these people from big industry, especially big coal, to come to the actual government to actually make sure that the actual skies and the water get poisoned. Look at West Virginia. Look at most of these coal areas. They are totally unlivable. I will go. Yes, of course they do. Gotcha. I will go to the next thing.
And you want dead baby. You want dead baby.
Prison reform. Prison reform. Okay. The reason why there was prison reform is because whites was currently getting all these mandatory minimums that was normally meant for black people when it came to drug laws. That's why they did prison reform.
Even though most of the people free were black.
Guess what?
Most of the people free were black.
I'm gonna explain to you the smoke screen. The smoke screen, sir. I don't give a shit about those people getting released from prison.
I know you don't care about anything tangible.
Hold on.
You don't care about anything tangible.
Whatever. That's not what I meant. Okay, the reason why most of these people, the reason why most of these people were released from prison is because they had a review. But here's another thing: those people committed 3 separate felonies. I don't give a fuck about those people. Period. That emphasis could have been spent on people who are already free, who have already did all the things in life the way that they're supposed to. Fuck those people. So what they did is they created a smokescreen by releasing a whole bunch of black people out of prison in exchange for not getting white people mandatory minimums that locked up black people for crack cocaine, while they sent white people to jail for less time than it was powder cocaine. Never heard a conservative ever try to overchange that law. I never heard of a conservative trying to overchange that law or who tried to change it. Okay, let me go to the next thing on the list.
Was the one that brought
let me go to the next thing on the list.
Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
Let me see what else we got here. Since they don't want to discuss policy, since they don't want to address any type of person, they're never going to redress the government. Remember, they think they're going to ask the government to change things that actually help people. It's somehow asking for a handout. That's totally not the case.
Are you done?
They can cite Trump policies, but they can't cite any other policies because they don't have to bring any other type of policies to the discussion. Thanks, X, for having me on. You have a nice day, LilBigNate. Don't talk to conservatives anymore. Bye.
All right, MOT. Good day, sir. I'll address quite a few things that he said. Okay. MOT said, quote, "I don't care about who's going into a bathroom." It doesn't affect him. That's what he said. That's a quote from MOT. Okay. I care about your daughter being in the bathroom with a grown man. I care about your wife or your girlfriend not having to feel strange because some guy that's not even a trans person, a man could wake up tomorrow morning, put on a wig and some lipstick, with his beard, and go into a woman's bathroom in some cities. Now, maybe this doesn't bother you. It bothers me. Defund the police. He talked about how it's not having an effect on the police because they can still have the police that are there with the funding that's been taken away, so it shows they didn't need that many police. That's an absolute lie. Defund the police has so demoralized so many precincts across the country. You have thousands, if not tens of thousands of officers that have taken early retirement, that have thrown down their badge and gun, that stand down when people are calling for assistance because of the amount of disrespect policemen have been shown. And something I didn't bring up during my presentation, I'll bring it up now. If you go to a website called Statista, STATISTA.com, they have a bunch of statistics on there. And they talk about the 2019 stats for police killings. Now, people on the left would have you believe that all these police are these ravenous, racist, horrible monsters that want to kill black people. Do you know that in 2019, 235 black men were killed? Most of those black men were killed during the commission of a crime. And I cannot give you percentages on the number that had weapons, but I'm not even going to speak on that because I'm not sure. But I would bet a considerable amount of them had weapons also. It's probably a minority of men that were unarmed. But if the police killed 235 black men in 2019, and they're focused on racism and hate of Black America, why did the same police kill 370 white men over the same period of time in 2019? That's something that the left is not going to be able to answer. So defund for the police was ridiculous because they're completely demoralized. You had the, the chief of police of Seattle resigned because of the defunding. She walked away from her job. She quit. Hoodservative talked about this. I believe it was yesterday. Oh, no, actually it was a few days ago on a different platform. Let's see, private property. No, they haven't instituted policies yet. You have Democrat intelligentsia. This is how the problem starts. The intelligentsia makes suggestions. It becomes popular. Now people are screaming, let's end private property. And then before you know it, policies are being enacted to take away private policy. You have well-known Democrats writing articles in magazines as big as Teen Vogue, saying that private housing is economic violence against the community. You can't attack me for what your side says. He talked about abortion. My goodness. No, it has not made it to the Supreme Court. What Republicans are focused on are state initiatives to limit abortion. States all over the South. They have enacted laws in some states where you have to get a sonogram, the woman, to make her see what she's about to destroy. They've reduced the number of weeks that you can have access to an abortion. They've even reduced the number of people that can provide an abortion. Republicans at the state level have been very active in limiting abortion. Things don't just have to take place at the federal level to be effective. States can enact more laws that touch the people than the federal government ever could. Guns. You heard Beto O'Rourke threaten to take your private property, which is that semi-automatic weapon. Now, if you are okay with voting Biden-Harris and potentially having Beto O'Rourke as your attorney general and him coming for the guns that he promised to take from you, then vote for the Democrats. Don't be mad at me. And cash bail. MOT made a distinction. I give him that. MOT made a distinction between the type of cash bail he's against. That lady, Jay Mai, that I talked about, who spoke at the DNC, she didn't make any distinctions. She said she wants to end cash bail for everybody. No distinction, no minor crime, no misdemeanor crime, no. Ending cash bail, which puts people right on the street after they get charged for some crime, no matter how major. The Democrats aren't making distinctions, folks. I'm sorry. And I think that's about all he brought up. I don't want to push the issue of MOT anymore. Have a good evening, MOT. But Brother Xavier, you're free to have folks come up or do whatever they want to do.
Is there anybody out there who wishes to challenge?
RBR?
Is there anyone out there who wishes to come up and challenge
my God, man.
Brother Nate? Anybody?
And look, all due respect, gentlemen, there will be no disrespect on my part. I ain't got no animosity towards you brothers. You brothers are free to be liberals and Democrats all you want. My thing is, man, I just want you to think about what you're voting for. Most black men, in their heart of hearts, they're conservative. They believe in hard work. They believe in determination. They believe getting out there and hustling for what you want. That's most black men. Most black men are not in favor of abortion. Most black men aren't in favor of open borders. And he's right. MOT, that's the one topic I forgot to cover. MOT did cover the fact that Barack Obama did deport a lot of illegal aliens. But that's Barack Obama. That's not the Democrat Party. Present day Democrat Party is in favor of open borders. You're absolutely right, MOT. Barack Obama did do what you said. But today, now, the Democrat Party is in favor of open borders. They want everybody to come over. And the reason they want them to come over is because how are these people going to vote? They're going to vote Democrat. That's the only reason they're in favor of all this unlimited immigration. That's it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the link in the chat for the folks who might want to come up. I will go ahead and put it in there.
And
now,
so
mind you, I'm going to let y'all know. I'm not going to have a lot of people up here tonight, maybe 5 or 6 brothers, because I just think 9 or 10 folks is just too much. And I don't feel like dealing with that many people tonight. So, once we get it to like 5 or 6, I mean, that's where we stopping at.
Niggas be wilding them, Brother Xavier. Niggas
when you have 10 people up here, it's hard. Everybody trying to talk. You can't really get around to everybody. It's too many people at once. You know what I'm saying? It's just too many, because even if I bring you up, if you're in the queue or whatever, I'm only going to let like 5 or 6 people be up at a time, man. I think.
Understood, sir.
Oh, shit. GMB in the house. Come on in, brother GMB.
I'm a fan of GMB, man. I recently subscribed to his channel. I've been listening to his live streams, man. Boy, on fire.
Y'all better get down there and subscribe to Grown Man Business. Grown Man Business, y'all better watch him too, because he's doing good numbers down there. And he dropping all kinds of cold hard truth down there. Get your behinds down there and subscribe to Grown Man Business, man. I mean, it's exactly what it is too. Grown Man Business.
Salute,
straight
man.
jacket.
Absolutely.
Yeah, straight jacket, man. Straight jacket.
Look, if brothers don't want to come on, man, I don't take it as any dig against them, man. You got to be in the mood to do something like this. And again, this is never about showing off or anything, man. I came to this space 5-6 weeks ago. I wanted my voice to be heard. I wanted to add my voice to the other voices that are out there. That's all. I try to stay out of beefs. I try to stay out of problems. I can't help that I'm passionate about some of these subjects. I know my positions might offend some people. I'm genuinely not trying to offend you, but sometimes that's just going to happen.
Yeah, the beef shit takes away from your creativity, man. It's like, you get caught up in these beefs. And that's why I don't do that shit, man. I try to stay out of that shit, man. I mean, number one, I'm too old. Number two, that shit is too it expires a lot of mental energy. And you know, at my age, I can't afford to be, you know, losing mental energy. I need to keep as much of my shit as I possibly can.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you know, I remember I used to watch you know, as a matter of fact, O'Shea actually put up a post a few weeks ago about this, how he found that the live streaming was causing more bad than good. This is what O'Shea said. And it's part of the reason he stopped doing the live streams. And I remember when I first came to the space a couple of years ago, you know, I would listen to O'Shea's stream. I'd listen to Obsidian stream. I'd see Mr. Fantastic and Taz going back and forth. And I would say, God damn, these niggas are wild. But then I would say to myself, it's like, man, I don't know if this is any good for us. I don't know if this is any good for this space, man. You know, you hear the acrimony, and then what happens is people leave the platforms and their feelings, and some group is coming over to sabotage this guy's platform, and this guys are going over to sabotage that guy's platform, and the anger just builds, the acrimony just builds. Man, it's just not good for the space, man.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's BS. But we've been joined by Brother GMB and Brother Trey, the NBD. What's good with it, brothers?
Hey, gentlemen, how y'all doing, man?
What's going on, man? I'm not going to be long, Brother X, and respect to the panel, man. Respect to you and all that you do. You know, normally they say when people's channels start to grow, they start to, you know, forget about where they come from. But I'm not one of those brothers, okay? And I also want to say, man, that look, man, this is what the black community needs to know as a whole. You have lion, and then you have sheeps, okay? We have presented to us exactly what has went on as far as our people, man, and you can't deny that a lot of the liberal democratic policies have played a major part in destroying the black community, man. You know, and once you start to talk about these things, then because we have been conditioned to be puppets for the democratic policies and all this other shit, you know, you consider the quote unquote what they call a coon, man. And unfortunately, I hate to go into it, man. But we have to understand that feminism, this is a liberal agenda. Alternative lifestyle, you know, this is another liberal agenda. These both of those things in turn are basically pro masculinity, and you have to understand that, you know, the liberal agenda, the what I for better words to say, the liberal black female is also an attack dog for white supremacy, or what we call white supremacy. Okay, you have to look at what the guy in Wisconsin, the shit that everybody marching for, or whatever the case may be. What does it boil back to? He had the cops called on him by who? Okay, you know, many of us like to call that coon talk. But at the end of the day, man, these black liberal females serve the black man up to the system willingly. You know what I'm saying? There's no doubt about it. Okay, we live in a society where whoredom is considered female empowerment exclusively for the black female. Okay, we live in a society where, you know, when Father's Day roll around, you know, you getting mothers getting Father's Day's gifts and all this other bullshit. The lack of masculinity in the black household is by far, brother, the biggest problem in the black community. We focus our energy on something so minute, We let these entertainers, these NBA players, these celebrity athletes speak for us when they have nothing in common with us at all. They are alone, detached from the everyday struggle of the black people, specifically the black man. And if you brothers don't see the blatant attack on black masculinity, whether it's through the Democratic Party with their LGBT, man, we can even go as deeper as illegal immigration, feminism, alternative lifestyle, all those things that are detrimental to the black community. We vote for it simply because of our emotional hatred for one man that was at one point considered and endeared. You didn't have a problem with black people rapping about this motherfucker at one point. You didn't have,
man.
You didn't have.
Stop me, FG.
Hey, you didn't have a problem with him showing up on black sitcoms at some point. All of a sudden, he's the spokesperson. He's the spokesman of white supremacy. Most of you motherfuckers got to give it to you. I'm sorry. Hey, Brother X, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to come on here with your platform with that, man, but you understand why.
GMB, you are welcome on this platform to say whatever the hell you want up here, brother. You ain't got to apologize for shit.
Man, most of you motherfuckers want a hug from that white man. That's what you want. I mean, I got to put it out there. Point. You know, look at the entertainment industry. Look at the people that most black females follow, how they bleach their skin, how they use their filters to look lighter in skin. Look at some, I mean, and you know, I don't identify, don't get me wrong, I don't identify as liberal or conservative. Even on the conservative side, you see most of the black women that can identify as conservative married to a white man. You understand what I'm saying? It seems to me, just looking objectively, that most of them are simply looking to be approved by the white society.
Hey, GMB, I can speak on that one, bro. My daughter's conservative, married to a white guy, and I 100% approve. That dude is, and if he hadn't been, hey, trust me, no wedding would have took place.
You know, but the thing is about it, we fight amongst each other about this shit. If you identify as conservative, you are automatically is you know, identified as a coon.
Exactly.
Who is the real coon? When you vote against your best interest.
Absolutely.
Who is the real coon? Okay.
Hey, I'll tell you though, GMB, Nate hit the nail on the head when he was talking about basically how the manosphere, like 99% of the manosphere is talking against the B-dub and all their effery, and you want to vote
exactly
the same way they do.
Absolutely.
I don't get that. That perplexes me, man. Me and David had a long conversation about that. I don't get it.
Man, hey, bro, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. You don't want to get me into this manosphere talk. I'm gonna piss a lot of people off.
Get into it. Get into it. God damn it. Get into
it. Hey, Brother X, you know I have a much admiration and a much love for you.
Absolutely. But you don't have to censor yourself here, brother. You ain't got to censor yourself. Say what's on your mind.
About this manosphere shit. Okay. Once you started adopting female ideologies, once you started letting black women speak for black men, the same type of content that you've been listening to for years, and they come back and regurgitate that same content and blow up to 85,000, 100,000 subscribers off of your content, using your platform to enhance their financial growth. It shows you just how weak you are. Okay, I thought this was a space. I mean, maybe I was mistaken, but I always thought this was a place for male empowerment. Fuck financially. I thought it was all about the betterment of black men of like mind that, you know, like Brother X that has a career. He doesn't need to do this shit. Brothers
That's
like
true.
us don't need to do this shit. You know
That's
what I'm
true.
saying? We are doing this shit exclusively to enhance black male empowerment and show black men how to be accountable. So many of men that we encounter have been masculinity deprived. You understand what I'm saying? I thought this was a space for us to come and commune together. But unfortunately,
GMB, man, I'll speak on that real quick, bro. I came to the manosphere, man. I've been conservative since, I made my change before I came over to the manosphere. And as long as I was down with the SYSBM movement, speaking, hey, I'm anti-strag. I don't really go in on them. Everything was cool. Man, the minute I said, hey, I'm a conservative, man, all the mentorship trying to show him how to get in where you fit in. Oh, hell no, he a coon now. I don't, man, the ideology, man, it goes left. And then all of a sudden, shout out to Zero, it resets back the game and it resets back to how do we make these black. Get over it, fellas. Dang, it ain't happening.
Man, I am pro-truth. I am pro-truth, bro. You understand what I'm saying? And democratic policies have worked definitively to destroy black men, black voices, black male empowerment. When you can look, when the DNC, I'm gonna tell you something. When you look at the DNC, when they had Billy Porter and fucking revisionize another man's song just to be there. When you had this man go on Sesame Street and say black men or young boys could be princesses, this shows what type of party that you are representing. You understand what I'm saying? And this shows you where black women, nearly to the tune of 96%, is voting for the Democratic Party. They care nothing about black masculinity. They care nothing about black men. Black men have been reduced to a material resources when it comes to black females. This is what everybody has to understand. Your woman has forsaken you. And you can sit up here and goddamn kowtow and sit up here and say, "Oh well, if I'm this and I'm that and I can build this and I can build that." The black woman, man, I'm gonna tell you something. The black woman does not respect you, black man. Period. It doesn't matter what you do, what you build, or anything. If your woman was born after 1988, you're done.
Done.
I have to be honest with you, brothers. Brother X, I love you, man. I don't want to disrespect your platform, but
I agree with you. I've often said, man, and I'm a brother who's been married for 19 years. I've known my wife for like 22 years. And I mean, this is what black brothers have. This is what brothers have to understand about the quote unquote black society. You are not considered a part of it, man.
No,
You're not considered a part of black society. The only time you're considered part of black society is when you're laying in the middle of the street with a policeman's bullet in your brain. Now you're part of the black community. Now that you're being wheeled off in the back of the coroner's wagon. Now everybody wants to march for you. Now everybody wants to make signs for you, put your face on t-shirts and all this kind of shit. But before all of that happened, they didn't give a damn about you while you were alive. They weren't trying to fight for you, stand up for you, or march for you. They were not doing it because they do not care about you until you're laying in the street with your brains splattered all over the highway and they could make your name a goddamn hashtag. Black men are not part of black society, and I'll tell you why. All of these politicians talk about everybody in black society except black men. When the last time you heard any politician use the words black and men in the same sentence? Please tell me.
My man
Tell me.
45. My man 45 who ain't a politician.
Donald Trump has. Donald Trump has talked about black men.
Who ain't a politician. But let me
it's real, dog. He's talked about black men. He's talked about wanting to help black men. Initiatives that can help black families and black men. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. And I ain't gonna hog the panel, but I gotta be honest. Black male death has become a hustle. I want y'all to hear me again. Hear me clearly. Black male death has become a hustle.
Yes,
man. Hey, I was gonna go in on these B-dubs on the left, but I gotta speak on that because Tatum brought up a good point tonight, man. Y'all gotta remember Tatum is from the hood in Fort Worth. He said straight up that if he was still on that grimy side, whenever a black dude got killed by the white man, he'd be hitting Neiman Marcus, Saks Fifth Avenue, all these stores, and trying to flip some daggone merchandise or be a booster. Because think about it, man. We had dudes looting and riding after a dude straight up killed himself yesterday. After the facts came out, they still looted and rioted, hitting up stores, man. All that stuff just to get a come up and sell products, probably on OfferUp and Facebook that they looting.
But I'm gonna go a step deeper, man. I'm gonna tell you something. Let's look at the logic that's behind everything that everybody protesting behind. You understand what I'm saying? You are literally having kids being killed and murdered in our streets, okay? But everything is reduced to protesting. Exactly. They're protesting. They're not protesting for that at all. They are protesting for something so minute, man. You got to understand that more white people are being killed. Unarmed white people are being killed more than black people. And I'll tell you something else too, man. This is the thing about it. This is what people fail to realize. You have this preconceived notion that when you interact with a black person, it's going to become violent. You know why? We only make up 13% of this fucking country, man. But yet and still, we are accountable for 54% of the violent crime in this country.
Wait a minute, brother GMB. Hold up. You know that's the white man's data.
I know. I'm gonna take it a step further.
That's the white man's data.
Hey, I'm gonna go on to Thomas Sowell. I'm gonna break it down for you. Those ain't my people. Y'all gotta remember that free black people, circa 1900, turn of that century, were integrated in schools in Detroit, Chicago, all these places. That black redneck culture didn't start dipping up from the South until the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Them ain't my people. I've said it for the longest. I realized at 8 years old, there's something seriously wrong with these people. They aren't mine.
Well, look, brother, I'm gonna be honest with you. I come from the rural South, rural Alabama, to be more specific. I'm always open and honest. I'm an open book. This is why I tell people to follow me on IG. There's docs and shit, whatever the fuck you want to do. Even the people that I work for know what I stand for. So I don't have no motherfucking problems. You understand what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I've seen systemic racism and blatant racism firsthand, man. And you will never see as much racism as you will see from the police department as you will see from another black man.
Yeah.
Facts.
I'm real. I'm talking about motherfuckers that treat you. I done ran and motherfucker called me nigga. Man, all bullshit aside, man. And if I was on my platform, my cousin is always in there. He was there with me. I knocked the motherfucker out cold. Like, he called me a nigga. I knocked his ass out cold, knocked the teeth out and every fucking thing. When the motherfucker, hey, look, bro, when the
straight up, man, 45 years on this planet, I've never dealt with racism, not a bit of racism from a white person. Any issues I had with the cops, all of them was all on me. All the racism I've experienced is from daggone niggas.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, we got to understand, we some of the most prejudiced goddamn people on the planet to be people that have felt so much prejudice over the course of history. We are some of the most prejudiced people on this planet. And it's not like we the most prejudiced people on this planet towards other people. We're prejudiced towards each other. Man.
Let me say this now. I believe that there are some vestiges of racism in the world of law enforcement, in the judicial system, and in the world of banking. I believe that there are some vestiges of racism. Not that the institutions are completely racist. That's just not true. But there's some remnants of racism in those three different institutions. I believe that. But if we're talking about the problems that Black America is facing, the 1 through 10 of the most prominent problems we got to deal with, racism's number 11 or 12, folks.
Yeah, that's true.
Our top 10 problems have nothing to do with racism.
I'll say, and I want to say one more thing, man, and I'm gonna go. Wanda Sykes, one of these bull dagger black people.
Aha! He said bull dagger. I haven't heard that word in a minute. Say it again, brother GMB. Say that shit again.
One of these fucking bull daggers went on Jimmy Kimmel's platform live and had a t-shirt that said phenomenally black. Now, if you would have had, say, Kevin Costner or fucking Brad Pitt go on a live platform and had a t-shirt that said phenomenally white, what do you think the outrage would have been?
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man.
Well, see, this is the thing. This is what I think the problem is, especially when you're talking about these quote unquote PC politically active, actors and celebrities and, entertainers and professional sports people. I think that they have, and I think some of us regular people too, regular blue collar guys like ourselves, I think a lot of us have this thing where white people have earned the right for us to say shit that offends them. And likewise, they don't have the right to say shit that offends us. I think that that's kind of where we are, in this social justice kind of climate, this PC kind of climate. A lot of us feel like we as black people, we've been oppressed so much by white folks that we're allowed to say whatever the fuck we want concerning white folks. And likewise, white folks ain't allowed to say shit about us. They can't say anything that even has the inkling of racial overtones in it, or they wrong. I think that's where a lot of us come from. I mean, that's just the truth, man. I mean,
I say this all the time, man. If someone were to abduct you and drop you off in Antarctica, okay? Y'all got to follow me now. And they gave you a blanket and a pair of boots. Are you going to complain how cold it is? Or are you going to use that goddamn blanket and that damn boot to find a way to survive? You understand what I'm saying? Are you going to continue to make excuses for the predicament that you are in? Or are you going to find a way to make that environment conducive to what you are trying to build? Period. We to the point that we believe that someone else owes us something. And nobody owes us shit because
nope.
I mean, to be honest, man, in this country, man, if you couldn't be whatever you wanted to be, then you couldn't explain Michael Jordan. You couldn't explain Bob Johnson. You couldn't explain Jay-Z. You can't. All these people that everyone seems to look up as the leaders of our black community. You couldn't explain anything. Look at Nipsey Hussle, okay, in a microcosm, okay. Nipsey Hussle was the black woman's god, so to speak. He thug, he rapped, he owned businesses and all this bullshit. But it came to find out at the end of the day, he didn't own any of the things that they were giving him this martyr status for at all. He didn't own any of that shit. But no one talks about that shit. No one talks about when, Kobe Bryant was raised by a black female and he decided to marry a woman that was non-black, and all you heard about when he died was he leaving his money to this and that, even though he was raised by a black female that by and large portrayed him, sold his memorabilia and all this other bullshit for clout and money. No one wants to really talk about that shit, man. I'm gonna tell you something, brothers, and a lot of people don't like to hear this shit, man. But to be quite honest, man, many of the black women have forsaken the black man. Period. It ain't no cut and dry. It ain't no, it ain't no fucking, going back and forth about this reality and all this other shit. Man, I'm gonna tell you something. They glorify sipping tea. And you know what sipping tea was? This was something they had back in the slavery times, where the black concubine would sit on the porch with the black slave master and his wife, and she would sit up there and divulge all the intentions and the morale of what was going on amongst the slaves. You think the welfare system was the beginning? You think when Lyndon B. Johnson took office in the welfare state and incentivized single motherhood and incentivized where the black male was excommunicated? No, this shit goes back much further than that. These women have been forsaking you for a long, long time. This is why you will see a black female disregard a black man that is upstanding, a brother that is blue collar, taking care of his motherfucking business. She would disregard him, just like that one that's running for mayor of Baltimore. This broad is a black female who is married to a man that has 5 children by 5 black women. But guess what? He's a white man. You understand what I'm saying? It is a reason that a lot of these black women try to live up to the white standing of beauty. You understand what I'm saying? You look on social media or anything like that, man. These women don't give a fuck about you, man. They are willing to deal with a motherfucking bottom shelf Brad, or what they call it, than deal with an upstanding black man, because the white man exudes power. They think that just because they deal with this white man, he is powerful. He wants to take them to the next level. This is a spade. Now, black men, don't get me wrong, we can all do better, because black men's standards have become so low. Black men only care about a wet vag and a fat ass. Don't get me wrong, but most of these men that a lot of these black women complain about are the men that are being raised in these same single mother environments, idolizing and worshiping the vag. Okay?
I totally agree with that.
Hello?
Of course, if you're talking about...
Hello?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hear you.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm done.
Yeah, I can hear you. Now, I mean, when you talk about... Well, let me go back further. Let me back up. When you hear women talk about dudes, and women talk about how, black men ain't shit, black men ain't building, black men ain't this, black men ain't that. Now, you have to understand, where do you think these black men come from? Men who were raised in decent homes, men who were raised with decent values, with integrity, okay, with honor, men who were raised like that. Most of those men weren't raised by the same kind of hoes that sit around and complain about the men who ain't shit. So what they have to understand is that older women that probably were a generation up from you created these men that you think ain't worth the shit. You know, because they was hoes just like you. And guess what? The sons you have, you gonna raise a bunch of ain't shit motherfuckers too. While you sit around and complain about how men ain't shit, those little motherfuckers that you raising right now, they ain't gonna be shit either. You know why? Because your black ass is raising them. You're raising them. So they ain't gonna be shit either. All right? They're not. They're not. And the next generation of women will be talking shit about them same good for nothing ass fucking sons that you sending out in the world. That's if they survive and not get shot in the head or be doing a lifetime bid in prison. Because I tell you right now, a lot of these women who are raising these children, all these boys are growing up to be, man, as fodder for the fucking penitentiary and the fucking cemetery. They're keeping the prison industrial complex in business, and they're keeping fucking funeral home directors in business. Because all you got to do is run their sheet, and you'll find out where they came from. They didn't come from a group of men who raised them to be somebody. They're coming from these hoes who be complaining about them. Go ahead.
I'll say this, and I'll be done. I'll let my
No, you won't be done. I want to acknowledge you, sir, on my intro, but make your last point, Mr. Grown Man Business. Okay. So you won't be done.
A cat can't teach a dog how to be a dog.
Nope. Nope.
That's why I love that, man. That's why I love this motherfucker.
Hey, X, man, I tell you this, man. David Monroe, man, the Hoodservative, on our live show, put it like this. These brothers don't like, Hoodservatives for one reason. It's because we go straight to Pookie and tell them, like, look, you don't have to go the educated lame route. You can go straight from Pookie to conservative. All you got to do is follow Bill O'Reilly and Don Lamont's steps. Pull your pants up, start speaking correct. You know what I'm saying? Take care of your kids. Stop dropping the N-bomb and whatever the fifth thing Don Lemon said 7 years ago. And all you got to do is that as a Pookie. And next thing you know, welcome to the conservative side. And you skip right over all these educated lames who are up here virtue signaling to the same scrag that, they claim, that, they ain't trying to be with, when 86% of them is still trying to sniff that scrag out. What does Angry Man say that hyena sent?
Well, let me tell you something, man, because I'm an older dude. Then I'll go to you, brother Sire. What often happens, and what I've noticed about people, maybe I'm just seeing things wrong, because I do wear glasses from time to time. What I see is that there's a segment of black people, a segment of the black population, who they don't want to change. They don't want to change themselves to fit the facts. They want society to change to fit the fallacy, if you can understand what I'm saying. Many black people believe that they should be able to do all the shit that they continue to do, no matter how fucked up it is, whether it's how they operate, how they talk, the amount of babies they have, how they present themselves, all that shit. They feel like all that shit that we're doing now, we should be allowed to keep the status quo, and the world should change and acclimate to our bullshit. That's what I kind of see going on. All right. Maybe it's just the black folks that I've seen. Okay. Maybe I live in a really small bubble. But when it comes to black people and how they're perceived by the world, they don't want to, a lot of black people don't want to change the perception of themselves. They want the world to change how they see the bullshit. They don't want to get rid of the bullshit. They want the world to look at the bullshit as something else. It's like if I put on a cop's uniform and I got a gun and I got pepper spray and a cop hat and I'm driving a cop car, and you walk up, you run up, you be like, officer, help me. And I look at you and say, I ain't a cop. Now, I'm not a cop, but people are going to think I'm a cop. I'm dressed like a cop. I got the gun. I got the cruiser. I got on the uniform. People are going to think I'm a cop. So if you have people doing all this crazy bullshit and expect people to look at it as culture or, that's the way we are, that's blackness, and all this so kind of nonsense, it doesn't make any sense. It's just like a hooker walking down the goddamn street dressed like a hooker, but she's telling people, oh, don't be treating me like no hooker. What the fuck are you talking about? You got on the hooker shoes, you got on the hooker skirt, you got on the hooker stockings. Now, if you come back home and dress presentable and walk down the street and somebody treats you like a hooker, that's different. That's different. But you can't dress like a goddamn hooker and expect people to not see you as one. And I think a lot of black people inside black society, they want to dress like a hooker, but they want everybody else to see them as this upstanding, virtuous woman. Like, oh, come on, man. It doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't even make any sense.
Wow. I'll take that as it's my turn. Damn. I mean, Zay, first of all, because this is your channel, you've given me a platform to present myself, but I've always, this is not kissing your ass. I've shown it in money, as you know. You presented a platform to give brothers of different perspectives, of different views. And before I get into that long-winded thing that I'm going to say for a second, let me just go reverse round robin. Trade again, Zave, I'll end with you. Trade MBD. I recently discovered your ass, but I love your videos. Shit, damn. I'm like, this dude is talking the real shit. Grown Man Business. We've been on some Bernard Riley panels. I think we have, or what have you. I respect both of y'all dialogue and what have you. And even the little that I disagree, I love the perspective you come from. LilBigNate, we ain't even gotta discuss this shit, so where it all is and what have you, So just on the greetings and to the gentleman who just joined the panel there.
I got a question for the panel. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Damn. But all right, go ahead.
My question is, why do baby boomers support Democrats more than anybody? They're
I'm tired of that. You know what? Hold a second. Part of my spiel, brother. I'm gonna tie into that because I was gonna go on.
Because man, I had my pops call me up this morning. He said, "You saw what Donald Trump did? Saw what Donald Trump did? Oh man,
brother, you raised a very good point. I can't see. What's your name, my man?
Jonathan.
My name's I was gonna say my government. Sire Tice or Sir Tice, whatever. Wow. I was listening to this on my drive home. I'm like, okay, let me hear a LilBigNate in general. I like both of these cats.
Is it anyone there?
Excuse me? Anyways, I was listening to this on the way, and then when General didn't show up, I'm like, God damn, I can't hear this. And then Nate went into, don't take this as a negative, Nate. Nate went into his usual spiel or what have you. Then I heard MOT and I heard his feedback, and I got a lot of respect for MOT. I just disagree with him on this in that, yeah, I'm done with you motherfucking conservatives and shit. And for the record, I don't consider myself a conservative. I'm a registered independent as far as politically, but
I'm libertarian, man. That's why I don't get these boomers be talking all this shit like I'm a right wing.
I'm gonna tie to this. Now, what I've never revealed on these panels, I was a political science major. I used to work for a lobbyist group. So I really genuinely understand how this stuff works, how political theory and influence is put out there, And this is where I really rock with cats like Trey the MBD, for example. Trey, can you hear me? Trey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so Trey, I don't know if it was today or yesterday because I'm like, God damn, I'm listening to more of these YouTube panels than I am just even my own radio and shit. He said something that was funny as hell that happened to me. I don't have a YouTube channel, but Trey had mentioned something, and Trey, you tell me if was this today or yesterday. Trey had said something. I think it was on Fantastic Channel, but he had said something. He came across something, somebody, and he was like, "Yeah, shout out to you on that MAGA hat." Now, I'm not a MAGA hat wearer, what have you, but I do support the policies. Okay, so so y'all know where I sit or whatever. Okay, I'm not on that shit. But and when I say I'm not on that shit, I'm not one of those, what do you get it or whatever. Oh, we're going to jump to this side, hip, hip, hooray. That's not me. But Trey had said something. He came across something on one of his truck rides or whatever, and the white guy listened to him or whatever, or heard him. He's like, damn, this is a black guy or whatever in this. And he's like, and they conversing. They got some of the same policies. And then he's like, oh shit, I listen to your damn channel. I'm a subscriber. Am I wrong, Trey?
Yeah, man, up in Brilliant, Wisconsin, man, up north of Green Bay, like serious Trump country. And this used to be like liberal, like snowflake country, but everywhere up there is Trump country, man. But I mean, it's been like in the last 3 weeks, I've ran into like twice in Canada and up there in Brilliant, Wisconsin, where I've like ran into people and they're like, what? You're a black Trump supporter? And I'm like, you never seen one? And they're like, no. Like, and I got to talking to them.
From the media. Hold a second.
Yeah. Hold on real quick, Tyree. They think all black people are down with this rioting and burning and looting and murdering shit.
Of course they do. And let me jump in on this since I brought this. Oh, by the way, so I do listen to you, right? No, I'm just, that was a joke. I guess it didn't get the effect of what have you. But no, I agree with what you're saying. Here's the problem, man. We Justice Collective that I just introduced, that people like the brother Xavier puts on, shows that we are much more than the monolith we produce. So now, time to the brother who just. I'm sorry, I forgot your name again. Jonathan, my bad, Jonathan. And
because I'm sick of these boomers, man. Because my pops call me every single day with this shit. Dude, I'm not a Trumper. I'm not a Trumper, but I might just go 45 just to spite him.
There's a well-respected brother who I love, who my mother loves, until he talks about black women, and then he's like, "Yeah, well, he don't talk about his daughter or whatever." And I'm like, you know what, Ma? It's not about that shit. But she loves this person, and we all know who I'm talking about. But he put on a panel today talking about black conservatives on YouTube, and I saw that title, and I'm like, God damn, is this on some triggered shit or what? Now, this is not mean. This is not mean. I'm disrespecting this brother. I am from the old school, okay? This is not mean. And brother Xavier, I'm not putting you in between this. I'm just promoting this. You brothers are making the difference in getting this message out, okay? Yes, it's okay to talk about a scenario where a motherfucker eats a gun. Oh, I'm sorry, gets killed by police. Oh, I mean, I'm my bad. Is running from police, then decides to eat a gun. It's okay to analyze that and realize that these motherfuckers are not looking out for our best interests. They're looking out for the lowest of the rung, and then using that to create their Marxist movements. And I have been dialoguing. I'm almost done. I've been trying to figure out how can I explain Marxism for dummies to these motherfuckers who don't get it, who don't just see what we're doing. But again, this is no disrespect to the elders. It's just that bottom line to the brother Jonathan, man, I guess to answer your question and then you can roll from their way, that's kind of what it was. What was considered conservatism then, and then what they joined when they were young and rebellious, they're clinging on to. And then when they see the younger cats or the younger cats who have actually some articulation to them or know how to explain their points, they will come at them or what have you. To whereas even you have some, well, I don't want to say the names, but I hear their points and I'm like, listen, let's just go head up, point for point. But then it becomes, fuck you, you bitch ass nigga. Or I'll end on this note to my brother LilBigNate. Put a stack on it, nigga. Put a stack on it. Okay.
All right, I want to let's go to the brother Jonathan, man. What's good with it, young fella? What you got for me, man?
What's going on, Xavier? I just want to say that I'm a libertarian. You know, I'm gonna vote 45 just to spite my pops, because I already pretty much told him that I don't see Biden getting in. For one thing, I don't understand y'all baby boomers that be clinging on to this civil rights 1964 shit, because he telling me all the time, you need to vote this because they was the ones fighting for the 1964
Great Society Act.
Great Society Act, and we should just be perpetual Democrats no matter what. Oh, hell. What?
No, I hate to say it. I hate to say this, man, but he's giving you bad advice, man. Like, you know.
Yeah, he's giving you revisionist history, bro. He's giving you that fake history, man.
He's giving you bad advice, you know, and not for nothing, you know, the boomer generation has
somebody put this logic into me, man.
It has its issues, you know.
I don't have the nostalgia. I don't have the nostalgia, bro.
Yeah, of course you don't. But like I said, you know, the boomer generation has its issues. You know, like all generations have their issues. You know, I think back in the boomer generation and also in the Gen X generation, we've had a tendency to kind of, you know, follow the flock without paying attention to where the flock is going. You know, the flock could be flying into a wall to the side of a mountain, you know, flying and, you know, face first into the ocean, and we just followed the flock. And I think
about the black people. They was about the black people.
Yeah, I think that now black people are kind of, people may call it divided, but I think black people are more sectioned than ever before. I mean, I think a lot of us think a lot differently. We definitely think a lot differently than we thought 50 years ago, you know, and that shows with the millennials and people of that time frame. Go ahead.
I'm Generation Y.
You Generation Y.
I'm Y.
How
I'm 20, brother? I'm 24. I think I fall in the Y, the version of Y, or.
No, you're a millennial.
You're still a millennial.
You're a millennial.
Okay.
I think you're still a millennial.
The fact that you would join this panel with these brothers, but continue.
Because, you know, man, like, I just want my brothers to be on some policy. Like, my policies right here I would love would be apprenticeships, an Armed Securities Act for black men, because I want to go to every store where every time I walk up, a black man's security is right there. Construction. We need construction apprenticeships. Something involving with trucking, you know, black men hire black men, and we need to revise the EEOC.
What industry are you in, if I may? Give me a couple minutes, brothers. And this is not an interrogation to you, Jonathan, but this is gonna prove a point or whatever. What industry are you in, or what do you want to get into, or feel free to answer the question.
Well, my industry is e-commerce and digital marketing. I make my sales daily, and I want to transition and parlay my money into real estate.
Okay. But let's get into the digital marketing for a second. So, in other words, you go to companies and you're saying, "Hey, what's your digital exposure? What, as far as internet, social media, etc." Right?
Yes.
All right. So you're in an industry that, and hear me. Oh, by the way, full disclosure, I'm in IT. I got 25 years experience in it as far as an application developer, senior engineer. Okay. I had nobody I could go to for that shit. I didn't know, like, damn, how do I learn new industry? So you're approaching people who are still looking at traditional industry practices. Am I wrong?
Oh, you're not wrong, because motherfuckers look at me like I'm fucking up.
Right. And you're kind of so basically, so you're the okay, and I'm gonna shut up because I know I've rambled on the last 5 minutes or what have you. But as I say, no history is new, and everything in history everything that now has happened in history. And I say that in a sense of this. You're like the guy coming into the Old West. You know, you're the East Coaster, and you come into the Old West of the late 1800s, 1900s. You're the Bass Reeves of the region. Are you familiar with Bass Reeves? I'm not going to get into his background, but are you familiar with
him? Yes, sir. Oh. My pops will beat me upside the head about that.
Okay, hey, salute. Yes, I know. Your pops is a great man already. Just knowing the fact that he introduced you to that great brother. You know, you're that cat coming to a region of the undiscovered, and now just conversing this. You're a black man, so you're not supposed to know this shit. And you're introducing this shit, but you're getting more pushback probably from your own people than you are these people who want to convince you things that's going to move us. You feel me?
Yeah, man, because I get tired when a lot of these old Negroes want to say ain't no solutions. I said, bullshit. I said, for one thing, not to be age shaming, but a lot of them only have 10 to 15 years left. They could care less if the fire was burning. They could care less if the fire was burning. That's why I said people 18 to 40 need to get the job done. Need to be able to get the job done, regardless if the older motherfuckers like it or not. Regardless,
I have to agree with you there, young fella. You know, being an older guy myself, I actually agree with you there because people my age, we kind of represent. And I'm not a fucking boomer, by the way, but I am an older guy. All right, and I'm a late Gen Xer. So now, people like us, I mean, because we often talk about Black society's future. I mean, people like us, we're not Black society's future. Us older Gen Xers and boomers and shit, we don't represent no goddamn future. We represent the past. And I think a lot of us don't understand that. I think we want to position ourselves to make it seem like we somehow represent the future. We're not representing the future when we in our late 40s, our 50s, our 60s. No, we do not represent the goddamn future. Okay, newsflash, we don't. We represent the past. So
I disagree. I disagree with their latter point, brother Xavier, on your channel. You don't represent the future, but you mentioned the last time I was on one of your panels, you're taking on your grandchildren because you want them to have a representation of your past. So
yes, but they represent the future, not me. I represent the past, and I can pass on wisdom because I'm an older guy. I'm experienced. I have things. I have work experience. I'm a mechanical engineer. I run my own business and all that kind of stuff. So I can pass that stuff on to them and maybe put them in a better position than people who don't have access to a person like me. But that's because I represent the past. You understand? They represent the future, not me.
Brother Jonathan, why do you join a panel like this? Or what was your curiosity or what sparked this? And it's not because we're so great. Shit. My own nephews and nieces tell me I ain't shit, but what sparked you to come on this?
Well, for one thing, y'all don't have TDS, man. I just can't deal with people that
Trump
have
derangement syndrome.
Yes, that's strong. That's strong where you blame everything. I'm like, God damn. And be willing to call other people up to talk about this bullshit. You know.
Well, the problem.
If you're 24, that means you born in 1996, which means that was the year that. And by the way, I can do that mental math in my head. Now that means when Tupac died. So that to us old ass geezers and shit, that ain't that long ago. Continue.
Yeah, the problem is that Black America is largely conditioned by leftist media. Let me give you a story of my mom. I used to go into Augusta, where my mother lives, and my sister and my brother used to live there too. But I go into town. I'd go visit her. She's retired. She'd be sitting in her house. She'd be watching MSNBC all day long. This is during the Obama administration. And my mother would be sitting there. She'd be laughing. She'd be giggling and stuff. And she'd be all happy. And I would ask her, like, Ma, why are you so happy watching the news? I just love the way they report on Barack Obama. I said, Ma, watching the news is not supposed to make you happy. Watching the news is not supposed to make you cheer for one side or the other. The news is supposed to inform you, make you a more informed citizen so you can make better decisions for your life. The news is supposed to keep its tabs on the world of politics and the elite world of business. They're supposed to keep tabs on these people. And you're sitting here watching a news program that just gives you one narrative that you agree with that makes you happy. And then when she would watch it, when the Trump administration started, my mother had TDS. And I came down there and saw her again. She'd be all happy because they were getting at that nasty Trump. And I told her again, I said, Ma, you're messing up watching this one news organ to get your information. You're being conditioned to hate this man. He's not worthy of being hated.
Hold on for a second, Nate. Xavier, may I ask you a couple of questions? And by the way, there's nothing.
Go ahead.
Anything.
Go ahead.
Xavier, dumb question since we're around. There's a little difference, but we're around the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier, you remember a program called Soul Train? Right?
Yeah.
You've heard of Soul Train, right? Yeah. Right. You've heard of Soul Train, right?
Yeah. I'm dating myself, but yes. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead,
Only Jonathan don't know about no Soul Train and shit.
Yeah, I know about Soul Train. Rosie Perez, she had that tight body, boy.
That's 80s. But we even go. We could get Jody Watley on your ass. You look at that.
You remember there weren't no big old thick WAP women on Soul Train? All the women were nice. You mean black women actually come in thin sizes?
Yeah. Well,
are you looking at my notes? Are you looking at my
in Soul Train? God damn it! You didn't see no fat hoes up there. I mean, all those chicks were slim. There wasn't a whole bunch of wasn't no obese freaking chicks coming down the Soul Train line.
Some Lizzos in the house.
Yeah, it wasn't no Lizzos coming down the Soul Train line. Man.
We can keep this entertaining, and we can keep it informative, and keep it entertaining. And I'm going to keep it on the entertaining level, but keep it informative to what. And I'm going to tie this back to what the brother Nate said. So during Soul Train, and you can watch this on this BET recreation of it, and it was actually pretty good, or what have you, of Soul Train that came out this year. I can't remember, American Soul, I think it was called. Don Cornelius had the foresight of that. Listen, imagery is very important, and I need you guys to keep a name in mind. His name is Samuel Yett, Yettee. Rom Wills did a video about him if you want to connect the dots there or what have you. It's about 2 years old, but he was a brother. He was the first brother to write for Newsweek in the late 60s. He got fired and sued him. He ended up becoming a professor for Howard. I'm going to tie this back to Soul Train. Just give me a second or whatever, okay? But he was talking about the power of imagery on TV and how it influences generations. Don Cornelius's focus was fuck just showing my dancers on TV. We're gonna control the messaging and shit. So a brother like Xavier and myself, we remember watching them Frederick Douglass Afro Sheen commercials and shit, and like, damn, who was that dude who had that tight ass afro, but it was gray and shit? And they're like, oh, that's Frederick Douglass. And then my mother's like, hey, you better read this fucking shit. You liking them goddamn commercials? You gonna read this Frederick Douglass by myself in this. And it later got to a point to whereas I had to read the paper and my mother said, okay, what's in the news? And I had to recite back to her damn near every significant story that was in the news. And people were like, well, that's how you got your vocabulary. So it disappoints me to when I even see my own mother who told me, well, did you believe that? I was like, well, I was just reading it. She's like, why the fuck are you just reading this? Now, mind you, this is the mother that my father married. And I'm like, God damn, I see why this motherfucker can't stand her ass at times. This shit, I'm not shitting on my mother. I'm just simply saying that what the mother was bringing to you on some discipline shit. Now, when their sons even fall off, then how they will later on. I'll bring this back to the Soul Train. I think y'all may have identified that connection already, but like now when I talk to her about politics, she's like, yeah, I don't like him. I'm like, well, that's not what you said when I read to you even back then. Well, you were a little boy back then or whatever. I'm like, no, you told me critical thinking, question what you read and what have you. And gentlemen, my experience that I just described to you was not unique. I met brothers that had that very same experience of, hey, you see us on TV. We on TV now. We got to even be better. Then it's like, we got to do this to confront this. Ain't no motherfucker on this goddamn panel ever in their life said, hey, I wish I wanted to be white. We always been trying to be the best. I don't even know y'all cats, but I can just hear it in y'all voices or what have you. And I'm not pandering to you when I say that. And for whatever reason, that sense of competitiveness have gotten lost.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. Because it's to the point where I just say, well, fuck it. It's an omnipresence. You can't beat the omnipresence. Because that's really what I call the media.
Jonathan,
it's a big omnipresence.
Jonathan, if I may jump in for a second, do the older brothers agree? Then let the young brother roll uninterrupted. But did y'all agree with my assessment in just saying that?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. Shit, I agree with it even more because I experienced it literally face on.
Well, maybe just maybe back then. I don't know if they knew this back then, but we all know it now. That black people, we take in more media than pretty much anyone else, percentage-wise, when it comes to television and internet and all this kind of nonsense. I mean, we consume a lot more of this shit than anybody else.
I respectfully disagree with you, brother Zabe, is now we do. Back then, Zabe, a second. I'm going to do my best Zabe impersonation. Can I get a drum roll, please? Can I get a drum roll?
What is it with you and freaking Bernard? Y'all always trying to freaking do a damn impersonation of me and shit.
These mamas. Zabe's never heard this. And Jonathan, hold on to your point. But Zabe never heard this. And you, Nate, Trey, the chat, get your black ass out my house. Whatever. You trying to air condition the outside? Get out. Get your black ass out. You ain't never heard. Zabe, how was my impersonation?
I
don't think it hit.
I'll give it like a 4.
Fuck you.
That's like a 3.5.
Hold a second. But the outside and the air conditioning, you trying to air condition the whole neighborhood. Close my goddamn door. and that was your mother speaking and shit. My point is that they was like, get your ass out. You not watching TV. You need to just get out and go deal with shit or what have you. And that's how we learned how to deal with people, negotiate, pick 6 people, 8 people on a football team. You got 7, you got an artificial quarterback. We figuring out things. Now everybody thinks video games. I'm going to go on mute, let the brother Jonathan roll, what have you.
But yeah, man, because I just need certain questions from brothers that's older than me when it comes to this shit. Because I'm like, man, do black people have this trauma-based learning type shit where if you was there to see the trauma directly, nobody can't tell you different?
Well, no. Again, the problem with black people is we are preoccupied with who likes us, who we think might like us. We're preoccupied with who we think doesn't like us. And if we think somebody doesn't like us, we can't listen to them. We can't get information from them. We can't get news from them. We have been force-fed this idea that Republicans hate us, the conservatives hate us, the right hates us because they don't pander to us, when that's not true. The Republican Party is largely indifferent to black people.
Well, I can agree with that. I can agree.
Yeah, we don't vote for them, so of course they're not particularly concerned about our plight. If we were to start giving them more votes, especially under a Trump administration, they would take us more seriously. They would listen to us. Trump got 13% of the black male vote and 4% of the black woman vote. He got 17% of the vote. And with that, this man decided to do prison reform. He decided to do police reform under an executive order, the funding of HBCUs. He's bragged consistently about having the lowest black unemployment in recorded U.S. history. No matter what anybody says,
he can't
tangibles.
He can't do the Dougie.
Well, yeah, that's unfortunate.
He can't do the Dougie.
That's funny, Don.
No.
Well, you know how we are as black people, man. I mean, a lot of us, let's be honest here, man. We don't like anything that doesn't pander to us, man.
Pandering to black people.
We don't even like other black people that don't pander to us. So of course we're not gonna like white people that don't freaking pander to us.
I'll speak on that, man. I've been silent for a minute.
I know.
Go ahead, Trey.
You said something. Go ahead, Trey.
Here's what's got to happen, especially for the young cat down here, man. Is what you got to get out. What you got to realize that this is 2020 United States. The only way you truly winning out here now is if you play the American card. And shout out to my man Preem, because he was talking. He goes deep in on this. But you got to realize, man, that business wise, you got to work with who's willing to work with you, philosophy wise, ideology wise. And I hate to say it, man, but if you run into brothers that got their head up the strags behind, you ain't gonna be able to work with them. You ain't gonna be able to get nothing accomplished with them. And if you run into a lot of these businesses that are like BW led, man, you're gonna be in for a world of hurt. Like, there's a reason why they put the B-Dub as the gatekeepers in a lot of these Fortune 500 companies. You know, these CEOs don't want people dealing with them. They know, you know what? I got to have me a B-Dub Bulldog Lizzo looking type to keep them out of here. They ain't the secretaries. They're the gatekeepers, because you know the secretary is going to look nice, thin, and pretty. The Soul Train type. But, yeah, man, you got to be able to work with those who are about business, that are about empowerment, and all this whole black power, certain Black Lives Matter stuff, man. Throw that stuff out in the garbage, bro. You got to come up here. Get in where you fit in paper wise, man. I don't know, young bro, if you don't know, man, but I'm a cannabis entrepreneur.
Okay.
Brothers.
See, that's why I'm libertarian. See, that's why I'm libertarian, because I fuck with the weed. I fuck with the weed.
Black unity is not important. What's important is unity among like-minded individuals. You'll get a lot more accomplished putting your abilities together with brothers and sisters that think like you than waiting for this massive communal countrywide bit of black unity. That's never going to happen. And we shouldn't want it to happen.
Yeah,
I knew that shit was bullshit in high school.
Yeah.
I knew that shit was bullshit in high school.
It's complete.
I was pro-black. You see, I was pro-black in high school. So
I would say, by the way, I think you still are. And being pro-black to me, and this is what I hate about the whole YouTube.
But I'm more pro-black men though. I'm more pro-black men than anything.
Hear me out. I think what the YouTube sector, the YouTube sector, I said sector, the YouTube sector has destroyed is that being pro-black isn't about ankhs, kinta-cloths, anything that nature. Hey, is your lawyer black? Is your doctor black?
Do you hire black folks?
Hey, okay. See, you got
black contractors.
That kind of shit.
Xavier got to pat his hand on the back, but no, exactly. No.
You have to. See, people don't let people have the copyright on pro-blackness, and don't let people try to define it for you, neither, young fellow. All right, you define your own pro-blackness. A lot of brothers that come up here that do the shit that they do, the way they take care of their family, man, the way they go about their business. A lot of these people I consider pro-black because of how they handle themselves as a black man, not because they out there marching, not because they wear fucking kufi, not because they wear dashiki and a bunch of beads and all this kind of nonsense. I mean, none of that shit really matters. It's about your works, man. It's about the substance, not the symbolism. See, a lot of people think that pro-black shit is all about the symbolism. You know, I got on a dashiki, I fucking got on a kufi, I got on beads, and I'm carrying some fucking book that I'm trying to recite shit to you about, you know, as I crawl out of my grandmother's basement and shit. I mean, that shit does not have the copyright on pro-blackness, man. It doesn't. Because if you want the best for black people, you are pro-black. If you want what's best for black folks, I consider you to be a person who is pro-black. You want what's best for black people. Now, how you go about that is up to you. So don't let these motherfuckers sell you this in the can motherfucking idea about what pro-blackness is and what it is not, man. That kind of shit, I've been crossed that shit off because I'm not gonna let no motherfucking body define pro-blackness for me, motherfucker. I will define it for myself, motherfucker. You can't tell me what pro-blackness is for me. You can tell me what pro-blackness is for you, but you can't tell me what pro-blackness is for me. And as a young fella, that's the mind state you need to have. Don't let other motherfuckers dictate how you operate. All right? If they're going to dictate an operation, let them dictate their operation, not yours.
Yeah,
that's what I can tell you.
Don't let them give you a litmus test on blackness, basically.
Yeah, that's bullshit.
If you don't pass the litmus test, you're not black. If you don't agree to donate copious amounts of your personal time and finances to a bunch of people you don't know in the poorest of communities, you're not black. I'm pro-black. I'm pro-black free market participation.
Hey,
pro-black family.
Stop for a second.
Pro-black patriot.
You're pro-black because you've raised two great children. The end.
Boom.
That too.
Boom. Boom.
That too.
All I can say to that is boom. And one more other thing that I'm going to tell you that kind of has not a goddamn thing to do with what we're talking about here, young fella.
Okay.
Remember this. I'll probably be dead and gone when you finally think about it. You know, I'll be dust. I'll probably be in an urn some fucking where. But remember this as a young fellow. I'll tell you the same thing I told my sons. You want to be a successful man. I'll tell you what my father told me a long time ago. He said, son, a scared man cannot win and a jealous man cannot work. Now, what does that mean? If you scared to take the chances, if you scared to go against the grain, if you're scared of hopping over that cliff where you may land into success, you will never win at whatever you're pursuing. The fear will stop you. The fear will stop you. And likewise, a jealous man cannot work. Because, see, when you going to do your thing, all you thinking about is that old funk box that's at the house. That's all you can think about. You got to call her 35 times. You got to call her 35 times a day. So you're not going to be able to concentrate on your career. How you going to concentrate on your career when you calling her ass 30, 40 times a day? So remember that saying, young fella. Like I said, it has nothing to do with what the fuck we're talking about. But a jealous man cannot work, and a scared man cannot win. All right? Remember that. That's all. And I'm about to close this shit out. So go ahead.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. Because I'm neither nor, I'm neither nor scared nor jealous. Because I know that I feel like this, man. The boomers, they had their playbook. I just feel like that my generation, we need to take the history that we know and create a new playbook and on the future that's about to come. Like, I'm tech. Like, I'm tech savvy, man. Like, the thing that always kills me is when boomers say, well, you got all these doodads, but they call me in to help them get on Zoom. So I know that I know that the shit that I know is useful and tangible.
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you this, because we about to wrap up. Let me tell you this though, young fella. I'm not telling you not to listen to older folks, because a lot of the shit that I learned from older folks, like my dad, my grandfather, my uncles, my older brothers, people like that. I guess that's what made me grow into the person that I am now. I guess that's the reason why I'm a mechanical engineer, because I listen to older folks and learn from older folks. But sometimes older folks tell you bullshit too. Don't think just because they're a lot older than you that, they carry the gems of life. No. What you do is you eat the meat, you spit out the fat and bones, pretty much.
So it's discernment. So it's proper discernment. That's all. Is it proper discernment?
Because some of us old ass dudes will be telling you some bullshit that won't even apply to your damn life. Shit, don't even take my black ass seriously. Go research the shit first. And then you come and listen like, yeah, that shit X said. That was pretty good. But this shit here, that was bullshit. I ain't paying no attention to that shit. Go ahead.
No, Jonathan, if I may say something, I wish Trey wouldn't have left off. When I'm on these panels, I don't read the chat, so I'm not sure what the pulse of it is. Well, let me bring it back and then bring it back to what X said. Let me tell you this. My first election I voted in was 1991. Mayor Coleman A. Young, first black mayor of Detroit, Michigan. And I want to say I'm revealing myself. Well, I won't get into my age, whatever. But here's the point I'm getting at. Nationally, Black America has been programmed to only worry about politics every 4 even number years that end with a 0 or divisible by the number 4. Okay. So, I'm sorry, divisible by number 2. All right. So in other words, 92, 96, 90. I'm sorry, not damn. I'm tripping now. What have you? 92, 96, 2000, what have you. Basically federal presidential elections. What's most important government-wise are your local elections. And what I learned early when I used to be on the left, see, most people don't know that. And I'm not a conservative or a Republican or what have you. I'm just someone who reads between the lines. What I learned from, can't even think of his name right now, Tony Brown, was that, hey, if you want to really mobilize your power, you can be whatever party you want, depending on the political affiliation or whatever the election is, and you can go between them. But here's my point: your judicial judges, your school boards, your commissioners, those things at the local level have much more of an impact on you than who the president is. And those require much less votes than even the president. And it's better to learn or galvanize a mission on those. Like case in point, I've always said this, forget what, and shout out to the brother Zero, but forget what cats say about feminism laws. If you really want to change feminism laws, you get these judges out. Most judges run unopposed, okay? But the simple point is that you have more resources at your disposal with the computers than even I did when I learned this, as far as just researching candidates and focusing on, okay, forget 2024. Let's look at the congressional seats that's going to be happening in 2021, 2022 at the state and federal level. And then if we can galvanize a group that can get money, that can influence these candidates, we can control them. I know that sounds very long and convoluted, what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you as a young brother, listen, look at things from a local level, recognize things that all this stuff that's happening right now, it's just about the figurehead and what they think it's going to be. In the end, worry about your own self-purpose and all this. And I think I heard you say something with IT. Feel free to reach out to me. Respect and salute, my brother.
Thank you, man, because I know that really it's lobbying more than anything, and it seemed like a lot of people don't realize that it is lobby. It's more lobby than anything, because if we ain't lobbying, man, we always gonna be last, bruh, no matter who the hell's in office.
Oh, absolutely. But we're gonna wrap this up. So parting shots before we get up out of here, folks. Whoever want to go first can go. Take your parting shots.
I'm going to defer to the guest last. As far as I'll just say this again, let us focus. We recognize what's in front of us right now, electoral wise, and people asking about policies and all this. People need to recognize also, including the baby boomers, one of the people who I dissed earlier, we need to recognize that, hey, deals are made. Hey, senator from Iowa who doesn't give a fuck about what's happening in Los Angeles, I need you to vote on this so that you'll vote about that. And recognize that's what's happening. Let's focus more on the local level. Let's not get into these debates on, oh, you YouTube conservatives don't know shit, or you YouTube leftists are stuck on stupid. And then again, salute to cats like the brother LilBigNate. I'm not kissing his ass. He'll tell you in my emails to him, I'll criticize him and shit, but he came with a burst on the scene, and he's a fucking future YouTube celebrity just based on what he's willing to present and what he's willing to defend in front of anybody. So respect, and I'm always to you, Xavier. Thank you for presenting this platform where intelligent brothers can come and just share our thoughts. Thank you, Mr. Jonathan, for just being willing to listen to us, even if you think we on some full of shit thing. And I'll nod out.
Appreciate that.
My brother. Anybody else who want to go? Young fella, you want to go?
Salute
shots.
Salute to you, Xavier. And I just want to say nothing but love, success to everybody. And I'm out.
Peace. And the guest of honor, my man, brother Nate. What you got for us, man? Parting shots.
I appreciate the opportunity, Xavier. Shout out to the general. You know, folks, you have to open up your mind beyond what you've been conditioned to believe. All we have to do is look around Black America. Are you happy with where things are? We've largely been pushed into the direction we're in by the Democrat Party, by leftist and liberal ideology. We have devoted ourselves, we've pledged our allegiance to these people for the past 60 years. All you have to do is look at where we are. Black women, unfortunately, are their most stalwart supporters. When the nation wants to know what Black America thinks, they talk to Black women, or they talk to Black men that sound like Black women. They never talk to men like us. And I don't mean just conservative men, just the type of men in the manosphere that will say genuinely what most black men are thinking in response to black women's behavior, in response to this corrosive black culture that's so counterintuitive and destructive to what we'll be able to be down the road. Our problems are not, you're not going to find the answers to them in policies. You're going to find the answers to them in adjusting our behavior and being part of a more productive, independent culture that doesn't look to anybody for the answers but us. And the sooner we can get busy doing that, the sooner we can make significant progress in this country. If we never do that, if we listen to the voices telling us that we need to depend on government to do this and government to do that, and nothing can change until we vote this person in or implement that policy, and if you take the decision for your success out of your hands, there's a great likelihood you'll never see success. That's all I got, man. Thank you, Brother Xavier. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. You know you're my brother, man. You're welcome up here anytime. Brother Nate, man, you always bring it whenever you come, man. Like, I could have just stayed off of here and just let you talk. But I appreciate you, though, brother. You know, you're always welcome up here, man. And we'll rap, man. You know we will, my brother.
Absolutely, absolutely.
My man, peace. Yeah, folks, quite the night tonight, you know. We did something a little different than we normally do, and it actually turned out pretty good. The general couldn't make it. He hit me up, you know, and he said, you know, X, you know, he apologized. He couldn't make it, but he said he's willing to debate Nate again at some point. So maybe we can reschedule and make that happen. I don't know what we're going to be doing, folks. Saturday, I'm not sure because I haven't got anything written in stone, because I told y'all earlier about the Obsidian challenge. He done challenged like 8 people, and I've only got one person to confirm, so I don't even know if it's going to go down on Saturday or not, folks. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm working on it. So by tomorrow, in the business, we'll know what we're doing. Also, next week, we might have, because I thought we was going to be doing some stuff with Brother Obsidian, but we may not be. We may have the rematch between D. Durrell and Mary. That may be going down, and possibly my man Brother Supreme might be coming up here debating as well. So just pay attention to the thumbnails. Y'all know y'all always going to see what's going on the T.P.O.T. YouTube page. You know. Good night tonight, man. Shout out to everybody who came up here tonight, man. Brother Trey, Brother Jonathan, Brother Scientice. Who else is up here? My man GMB. Y'all need to get down here. Brother MOT. Y'all need to get down there. Subscribe to all these brothers' channels, man, because these brothers are doing good things, man, and they hitting folks off, man, with information that's pretty valuable, man, because I'm subscribed to all these brothers, so you should too. Do what I do, damn it. But anyway, yeah, man, we're gonna get up out of here, man. I appreciate all you good folks, man. I appreciate all you good folks right here. And all you good folks out there, man, y'all always hang in there with us, man. You always hang in there, man. And I appreciate y'all. I appreciate all the donations tonight, the super chats and the cash apps. But most importantly, man, I just appreciate you, period, for hanging out with us, man, spending some time with us, man, and watching us, man. It's always appreciated, and it's always good, man, to be up here with you good folks, man. And I just want y'all to know, man, that I appreciate it. All right. So with that, I will leave you with 3 words. You know, like I always do.
Open your mind.
Peace, folks.
of thought. Profit of thought.
Open your mind, 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 open your mind.
Join the league. Join the league.
Only from the Profit of Thought series media.
You know.
Open your mind, 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 open your mind.